It's time for TWiT This Week in Tech. John C. Dvorak's here, Brian Brushwood, and Mike Elgan will talk about that video that got 73 million views in a week. John says it's a scam. We'll also talk about Austin, why everybody's drunk there this week, and a look at the new iPad. It's all coming up next on TWiT.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Audio bandwidth for This Week in Tech is provided by the new Winamp for Android, featuring wireless sync and one-click iTunes import. Now with free daily music downloads and full-length CD listening parties. Download it for free at winamp.com/Android. Video bandwidth for TWiT is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. This is TWiT, This Week in Tech, recorded March 11th, 2012. Don't eat the goatee. This Week in Tech is brought to you by GoToMyPC. GoToMyPC apps are the missing link for remote access to turn your iPad and iPhone into your office computer. Visit GoToMyPC.com for your free 30-day trial. Use the offer code TWiT. And by Squarespace.com, the fast and easy way to create a high-quality website or blog. For a free trial and 30% off your new account for 3 months, go to Squarespace.com and use the offer code TWiT3. And by Ford, featuring Curve Control to help protect against crashes on curves. Look for Curve Control available in the 2013 Ford Taurus and learn more at Ford.com/cars/Taurus. Welcome to TWiT, This Week in Tech, the show where we talk about the week's tech news. And we're all a little bit under the weather, a little cranky today. I'll explain why in a moment. But let's start first with the original cranky geek, Mr. John C. Dvorak, who's now marking his 4th consecutive TWiT in a row.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I shouldn't. That was a mistake.
No, I'm thrilled. I'm really thrilled.
I'm
Thank
sure
you,
you
John. Making that trip up here.
ChannelDvorak.com. Check it out.
Despite the Cal losing in the
Cal lost to Colorado.
March Madness.
No, it's not March Madness. This is
NCAA Final Four.
No, do you follow this at all?
The NIT National.
We're tremendous fans of sports ball. We understand it's a hell of a
tournament.
In the Pac-12 tournament.
Yeah.
We'll just edit all the rest of that crap out.
No, you won't.
John C. Dvorak, ladies and gentlemen. Also with us, Mike Elgan. It's so great to have you, Mike. Mike joined us. Well, I'll tell you in a second. I also want to say hi to Brian Brushwood.
Hello.
Who is the host of Game
I want you
On.
to know, I had to pull myself away from a hell of a lot of parties in South by Southwest to make it out.
Yeah, did you come back from South by Southwest?
Yeah, I did. That's why my voice is all scraggly. We did South by So Wasted, our NSFW event, where we actually had Ali Spagnola played Power Hour. It was a concert of 60 one-minute-long songs. And at the end of each song, you had to do a shot of beer.
Oh,
so at the end of
that's
it,
60 shots of beer?
Yeah.
That's binge drinking, sir. You should be dead.
It's
That's why his eyes are kind of shut.
It's popular.
They're little shots.
Yeah, like 1 ounce. You end up drinking, I think, like
60
6
ounces.
beers.
60 ounces.
It's like a couple of 40s.
No, 5 beers.
It's less than a couple of 40s.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah, it's
Child's
nothing.
play.
I do a couple of 40s
I'd let
every
my
night.
daughter do a Power Hour.
So you were reverse commute. Like everybody's going to Austin. All of San Francisco's in Austin right now. And
Unfortunately, though, for like how busy the airport is, doesn't differentiate. It's like the ticket prices are crazy. Everything's overrun, but whatever. It was good. I never even go to any of the South by Southwest events. It's always been about the parties now more than ever.
That's why we didn't cover it this year. I think Sarah's down there.
Although I heard Baratunde killed it in his presentation at South by Southwest.
I'm sure
Who'd he kill?
How to be black. I saw, it's so funny, Mario Armstrong and Baratunde were on CNN. CNN has the CNN Grill at South by Southwest. I've never understood why CNN is there, but they, for some reason, have decided this is about job creation in America.
Sure.
Yeah, we heard that.
And a beer every minute.
A bunch of people not working is what it is.
So,
with the climate the way it is now, really any place where innovation is happening, you want to put some kind of anywhere where people are positive and optimistic. You're like, it's about jobs. Not everything is crap.
Right. Although I don't think any innovation happens at South by. It's really spring break for geeks.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, I do agree with that.
That's 100%. What it really is. Yeah. Minus the naked women and the beads.
There's no naked women.
There's no wet T-shirt contest at South by.
No. There's
code. That's what Burning Man is for.
Anyway, thank you, Brian, because you come up here for Game On every week. Actually, Brian's always in the back room while we do TWiT. And you said, why aren't you letting me on TWiT? I said, I thought you were busy.
No. To be honest, I actually really wanted to come because I got to promote. This week we're doing the Scam School book, dropping on 3/14. And I'll tell you what, after my kids, this is like the thing I am most proud of. If you go to scamschoolbook.com, you can check it out. It's so fascinating because instructional materials are where I really think ebooks are going to shine.
Wait a minute. Instructional materials for scamming people.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, because it's 80 magic tricks to do at the bar, right? And the difference is like I spend like 3 paragraphs explaining how to do something, but then you just click on the photo and it plays a 10-second clip actually showing the move, and everything makes so much more sense, right? And
so adding the multimedia to a standard text,
right? Well, and also, and I've never seen this before, but there's audio commentary tracks for every single trick. So it's like each chapter explains how to do the trick, but then the audio commentary talks about the behind the scenes of what when is a good time to do it, or how I've epically failed with a trick once or twice. Dude, I'm so excited about this.
If you had any sense of irony, you would make the whole book a scam.
There's nothing in it.
Inside,
You've been
there's
schooled.
nothing. What's the price of this book, and where can you get it?
Well, it's going to be $9.99 eventually, but on launch day we're doing $4.99,
Oh,
and then
I gotta buy it.
and the idea is to do a targeted strike. This is the scam. We want to scam our way to the top of Amazon, so I'm cutting the price in half. The best experience is on the iPad right now in the iBook store.
Did you use Author? Did they use Author to make this?
No, they've got Vuk is a cross-platform thing, and in fact, they had a contest. They had over 600 books in their beta time, and they gave this one. They had 3 awards. One was for best design, best content, and then best overall. This won best overall. So for best design and best content, out of the 600 entries on there, it's awesome, and it's going to be best on the iPad, but it'll work great on Amazon as well.
This is interesting. So instead of using Author, which is iPad only, and you have to give money to Apple and so forth.
Correct.
This way you could sell it on Kindle and you could sell it elsewhere.
Yeah, and they handle all of that stuff. So you use their exclusive platform to build the whole thing, and then when you click publish, it pushes automatically to all 3 of them, and it adapts it. Because right now it's utter chaos in ebook land as far as formatting goes.
Right.
If you want to do a rich format, the best experience is still EPUB. But, even now with the Kindle Fire, it still won't, even though you can embed video and images, they won't display properly. So we had to put in extra external links to take you to the content if you want to actually see it on the Kindle Fire. But to me, the most exciting thing is that all of this stuff can live on your smartphone as well. So when you're actually at the bar, you can review the tricks that you know and then go out and
I think we need a longer plug for this book.
Now, if you get it on the basic Kindle, there's no audio, so you just won't get that.
Well, no, they're all external links, so it's all in there. Yeah, when
you'd
you're
have to go
connected.
in a browser or something.
And plus, I suspect sometime in the next 2 months, all of a sudden you'll just have that capability because they're constantly doing new revisions on there.
To that basic Kindle, so
right.
Well,
yeah,
audio.
basic Kindle, and of course, how you experience the book will change based on. But the pre-orders are up right now.
So this is an app.
And it's an ebook, so it's in the iBook store.
Oh, okay.
But it's got app-like functionality with all the rich media.
Yeah, interesting. John, you might want to think about this for.
I need something for extra money.
That's why he keeps coming to the show. And, of course, Mike Elgan joined us. We did something unique this week. We did, of course, on Wednesday, Apple announced the new iPad. And we did a Google Hangout, which we'd never done before, in addition to our panel. So it's something like we could do right now, start a Hangout. And I invited only tech reporters. Mike showed up, Steve Garfield. We had Tim Street. I forgot who else.
Tim's hilarious.
Yeah, so it was kind of an interesting way to have a secondary.
It was great for me
chorus.
because I was actually going to do that. I was going to, do a hangout and do a running. I call it a live blab of the event, and then I realized.
I was thrilled that you joined our live
I realized you were going to do it, and I'm like, I'll just watch Leo's instead of doing my own, and then you
perfect.
did the thing, and I was on. It was great.
Perfect. It was really fun.
Where's Veronica?
She's in the back in the room.
She's
hidden
too
away.
busy.
Somebody's got to get ready.
We're
for
ashamed
Game
of her.
On.
So
Brand's
nobody
out
from this group went to this thing except him, and he's a poor
here.
representative.
To South by Southwest, you mean? It's still going on. It's 9th through the 13th. In fact, this is today and tomorrow are like the really big days if you want to go to South by Saturday,
if you're
Sunday,
there for the
Monday.
content and not just for the parties.
Nobody goes for the content. Nobody goes.
They all
He
think they
bailed
do.
out already.
So, anyway, I was saying I saw Brian and Mario on CNN. And I thought, that's interesting. They
I
found
saw
the two
Steve
black guys.
Case on CNN.
Steve Case was on with
going on about something.
with Reed Hastings. It's very interesting. Anyway, Is there anything to talk about with South by? Or
Not that I heard.
breaking news?
Yeah, there's a shopping cart that follows you around. Apparently, that's the big thing. It's a great news.
There's a shopping cart?
It's a new product that somebody's looking for financing.
They're trying to replace husbands.
So as you walk around, the shopping cart follows you around. Sounds creepy if you ask me.
Yeah,
They're
no
announcing
kidding.
a social media-enabled biodiesel. It's going to be amazing. Change the world.
So, no, that's not it. I'm trying to find the South by South. All I'm getting is the shopping cart for logging in. Well, that's interesting.
Whole Foods is
So in the past, Twitter really kind of made it big at South by. Then the next year, Foursquare. The next year, Gowalla, which today actually closed its doors. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But nothing since then because everybody's looked and said, hey, this is where Twitter launched. I want to launch there. So there's 800 people trying to launch all at the same time.
And that's the problem. Like, as soon as you have success and you have a couple of those awesome flashpoints where you have a meeting of the minds and the right product at the right time comes out and you get a reputation for that, then all of a sudden you get all the hangers-on and all the gold diggers, all the people who hear there's gold in them, their internet's showing up. And then it just becomes – you get so much noise, it's very difficult to find the signal in there.
One app that some people are saying is going to be big is Highlight. I've had this on my phone for some time. The idea is you put it on your phone and just kind of let it run, and it will tell you when people are nearby that you might want to meet.
So it doesn't necessarily
Stalkers.
post where you are, but just sort of
Well, it
triggers.
does in a way.
Wasn't there a Japanese product that used to wear those? What was this?
You would indicate your sexual preferences, whether you're looking
You
for a
walked
friend
around
or
Tokyo and beep 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 beep, and you somebody nearby would be beeping, and you'd next thing you know you jump in a hotel room and do it.
exactly.
The real problem with this, something like this at South by, it's not just your friends, it's friends of friends, right? So it's a fairly large network. At South by, it'd be
Beeping all the time.
beeping all the time.
Yeah, it would just explode. I would
Everybody
imagine.
there.
That's
So-
the problem with these apps like Color and others that are just ad hoc networks. They're either nobody's there,
Right.
or you're just overwhelmed, and it's very difficult to be at an event where it's just the right amount of.
So, have you noticed that
It's
as
like
a result,
Grindr.
have you noticed as a result of all these different applications that you get I guess notification fatigue that creeps into other things? Like you get so many notices on your Facebook and your Google Plus that now all of a sudden I'm so accustomed to blowing those off and getting around to them when I never do that I also like even voicemails now. I see that people call and leave voicemails.
I don't want to connect.
I'll get around to
Go away.
listening to that. Same thing with text messages. And so now I just tell people it's like just make sure to send everything 3 times.
I'm too busy social networking to connect with people. It takes up all my time, and so, don't have
So
time for
there's
people.
2 apps. There's Grindr and Blender. Grindr's for gay people. Blender's for straight and lesbian people. I don't know how lesbian. I guess
not fair.
They're coming out with a
That's kinda
complicated.
funny.
Hell, is that why are you making a gay ghetto? What is that?
I don't understand. But anyway, these do the same thing, but it's more for hooking up, which is now that maybe has some.
And then there's a do-it-yourself app. So
What's the do-it-yourself app?
scams.
Stand around.
It's a scam school book. Go to scamschoolbook.com.
It's called I'm So Lonely. Yeah. All right. Anyway, so I think we can say safely that we are not missing any key developments in the.
I mean, not that
world.
usually this is the kind of thing that the chat room would instantly pipe up and be like, "You missed this announcement," but they are not.
No. But I think a new set of antisocial apps is probably a good idea.
Antisocial apps.
that's
Now you're
clever.
talking.
Yeah. What would that be?
How do you know what it would be
Yeah,
the reverse? It would keep track of where all your friends are and tell you
Go
where to
that
get
way.
away from them.
Scoble's in that room. Don't go in there. That would be useful. So the iPad. I mean, I think the big story
Yeah,
of the week is
clearly.
the iPad launch. I know you're going to throw stones at me, but I am going to say that this is one of the most important product launches since the first iPad launch. In that, I think this is they
Do you
said
have
the
a
word.
box of stones or
No, I'll give you some if you need to throw them.
nah?
I do think that when they said post PC about 12 times at the beginning, they actually were kind of right on because this is the first iPad with this screen resolution that's mind-boggling, and the power to create because of a good camera and apps and voice dictation that it enhanced creation. I think this might, in fact, really be the first real post-PC PC.
I tend to think that post-PC devices have 4 characteristics. Number one, they're appliances rather than – I mean, PCs are essentially hobbyist kits at their
They're
core.
starting to be that way.
But, to use a PC originally was to program it. Then to use a PC was to optimize and maintain it and all that kind of stuff, file management and the rest. And this is, Apple and other companies are doing these appliances. The second thing is there's no file management. The third thing is that there's an App Store model. Now, PCs are starting to get the App Store model, but it's it's an afterthought. It's just an attempt to copy Apple. And so, it's a real, the future. I really think in the future, the average person won't use a PC. They won't be managing files, and they won't be downloading drivers, and they won't be doing any of that stuff. They're just going to be, they just want to use it. And
I agree.
That's how it's going to be. And Apple.
This is what happens to technology. It becomes invisible.
Right.
It's only technology when it's something that is unfamiliar and difficult and challenging. People use PCs because they had to. But they don't want to, except for a few of us. Well, Brian, you disagree?
Well, look, if there's one revolutionary advance
look at you
here,
with this big box in front of him.
I'm clearly
he's got a microphone on the PC. Look at where his microphone is.
It's the only space on the table available to him.
He's like using up the whole table.
All right, look, the conversation is not about how big my laptop is, but but the important thing is that there's one revolutionary advance here is that Apple has exactly identified the exact place to piss me off personally, where on paper I could be unimpressed with everything, but I know I'm still going to buy this stupid thing. Because on paper it's like, what, the resolution's higher, okay, and then I never use the camera on my iPad too.
You will now. I think you're, and then it's going to look
taking a picture of that. You look like
no,
the dork
it looks
of the
dorky,
decade.
but it's going to. But
looks dorky.
People's attitudes are going to change about that, and I'll tell you why. First of all, you're going to get used to it, but second of all, there's never been a movie device that lets you see the movie you're shooting in the final resolution that it's going to be. You're not looking through a viewfinder.
We can have a pool. We can put a pool up. We can put it all together now. First is going to be a YouTube video of the first person doing what you just described and having the laptop or the thing stolen from him right on the spot by some little kid, and is going to run down the street with it. Look what I got, Mommy.
With the video still running.
With the video still running. It will end up on YouTube, and we can put a pool that will be within the next 30 days.
Here's the example. Here's a use case. A fella at the beach with his iPad. His kids are building a sandcastle.
You can't get that kind of resolution in the sun. I mean, that kind of bright screen in the sun.
Well,
this is
all right,
bogus.
that's probably a little bit faked, but
fake.
The point is, he's seeing on the screen what he's shooting.
I see that. I see
in the
people doing
final
that
resolution.
Of
course, they're going to do that,
Yeah.
and it's going to become commonplace. Nobody's going to steal it. What do they steal? Your video camera? They steal your phone? Would people walk up to you and steal stuff from your hands? Where do you live?
I got pickpocketed.
Oh, you live in
Madrid.
Oakland. That's right.
I live in Oakland.
Here's what's interesting.
You just did that whole bit to walk into that long, shaggy dog ending.
It was a long way to go.
You saw the response.
Yeah, very tepid. It was a tepid response.
Because everyone here's from Ohio.
So here's what's interesting to me is as a gaming platform, this is a very significant advance because you finally have as much horsepower as you have in your Xbox 360s or even your PS3s perhaps. But I really am curious to see what happens when game developers look to this as a primary place to start doing AAA titles. Because the problem is, as much as we love the convenience of gaming on the go on our iPhones and Android devices, there's this, it's difficult for a lot of AAA titles to come out with it because you're only going to get maybe $9 is about the most you're going to get.
Well, it's also a challenge because I think standard gaming controls are completely wrong for the iPad. So one of the reasons Angry Birds is so successful and Infinity Blade, which they keep showing, is because it's a swipe game. Well, it's a game that makes sense in touch. And I see so many first-person shooters trying to adapt gaming controls to the iPad. Just forget it, guys. You got to make it for the platform.
But you know what? The problem with Xbox is that it's ultimately there's only a certain number of people who are going to really master Call of Duty. I mean, I go play Call of Duty and I just get my
we can't play because the 12-year-olds are going to kill us.
Casual gaming is a gazillion times bigger than real gaming, right? And that's where the opportunities are. And those people are going to be happy to charge $9 a game because they're going to sell 20 million of them.
Right. But here's the thing, though.
By the way, that Infinity Blade Dungeons looks awesome. It looks like Diablo 3.
Right. Well, and that's one of the things, my point, when we covered the launch of the PS Vita, I made the case on Game On.
I saw your debate with Veronica.
Yeah, that is like, what's the point? It's like the iPad's going to take over everything, and it's like, if I have to choose between a PS Vita or the new iPad, which we agree, God, what is it with Apple and stupid names that we hate until they're suddenly not stupid anymore? Are we going to just call it the new iPad?
Just the
iPad? Just iPad?
Just
wait a minute. Let's back up a second.
Why are they doing that?
Well, why did you come up with this prediction that it was you had somebody tell you?
I was wrong. I was wrong on everything I said. In fact,
I
just like to.
No, somebody told you this stuff. I think that Apple streamed out a lot of bad information that came rapping back so they could see where the leaks were. You were one of the sources.
And I said at the time, I did not have a source for iPad HD. I just predicted that Apple would emphasize HD, and I was surprised they in fact did not.
What's funny is that Apple itself has to use
skewed, and it's 4:3. It's not a 16:9 tablet, so there's a lot of reasons they can't.
What's funny, when you go and order one, Apple itself has to designate that. They have to say something, so they say third generation in parentheses. Even Apple can't use its own name.
It wouldn't have been weird had they not been continuing the iPad 2, because now the iPad 2, which is the old one, is older than an iPad,
right?
Which is very confusing. But I think what they're doing is the same thing Dell does. When you buy a Dell XPS, it's not 1, 2, 3, the 2012 version. It's the XPS, and then you spec it. So I think that's what they're going towards.
I guess same thing with MacBook Pro.
They're going to the same thing, which is, well, if you pay $399, you'll get the A5, not the A5X. You'll get the lower res screen. That's just a different iPad, not last year's iPad, but just this is what you get for what you pay.
As we talked about in the Hangout during the event, I think this is evidence that that they're going to come out with a smaller iPad that everybody's been rumored.
They might want a larger line.
But I think that there will always be a cheaper iPad, but in the future it won't be the old one. It'll be the small one.
I'll tell you what people don't – I don't think people want a smaller iPad nearly as much as they want a ruggedized iPad. I think that's what you're going to see next is a flight to because you see – we're all still trying to get to that.
Book.
Yeah, we're still trying to get to that Star Trek level, and at this point, I think we're going to see a leveling off because the quality. I mean, how much better can you make?
Yeah, it should be a little heavier anyway. So when that kid steals it from you,
you can chase him down.
Yeah, because it'd be luggage. They say this thing's too heavy, dude.
I got a call from a sewer worker on the radio show who wanted to use an iPad. I'm not kidding. He said, "Yeah, I do septic systems.
Wow.
And I need it to be ruggedized so I can take it in the field. And sometimes my hands have grit on them,
right?
And I don't want to scratch it. So he was asking, and I said, well, you get an OtterBox or Pelican now making some very rugged cases, and you get a screen shield. So you can ruggedize it.
There's one company that is actually offering a waterproofing process that allows it, like you send them your unit and they completely cover it, and then you can actually just throw it in the water.
That waterproofing process is interesting.
Yeah.
Apparently you have to give up your thing for days because it soaks in some goo.
That's not good.
No, it's a salt. You haven't heard of this process? Yeah. They put it in this liquid bath that has, I guess it's a bunch of ions. I don't even know how it works. I have no idea.
I'll tell you what, that'll be a killer feature if they have that next year.
Days or 3 or 4 days, and then when they bring the thing out and it's dry, it's completely waterproof. You could drop it in the swimming pool.
Note 33 said they were at CES. Yeah.
And there were rumors right after that both Apple and some Google Android vendors were going to use this stuff out of the gate. It's just going to come with the stuff.
See, and now that would have had me excited. That would have been a no-brainer. Like, take my money right now. But instead, what I'm going to do?
Cool. Apple could have dropped it in a pool.
Yeah.
And then with this thing still going on.
In the demo
and then
video.
a kid would come along and steal it out of the pool, and off he'd go.
The iPad H2O.
Oh, dude, that would be great. The demo video has them FaceTiming underwater with a scuba diver.
But that doesn't ruggedize it. And I don't think Apple wants ruggedized iPads because then they'll last. These are disposable.
That's a little bit conspiracy
theory.
Yeah.
Of course you like it.
No, I think that's interesting, yeah. I think it's called Liquipel. L-U... QUI, yeah, it's not the best name. I can't even spell it. LIQUIPEL, according to the chat room. I'll do that.
So I'm sure you would.
I think it's kind of interesting.
See, and I don't know.
You drop the Heil mic into that stuff.
But you could put anything in it. You could put your shoes in it.
That's what it says.
There it is. Waterproof your device.
Yeah.
Isn't there like a liquid that you can breathe? Like it has enough oxygen in it?
In a movie. That was the movie Abyss.
The movie.
Didn't I once fight crime with an ex-con man?
I have like a belt.
Are they going to dip her in it? Wait a minute. Oh no. Okay.
No, that's the wet T-shirt contest you got there. That's different.
South by South. Why is it all the women in this are
perfluorohydrocarbon?
Oh yeah, that's what you breathe. Perfluorohydrocarbon.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to be breathing it.
Yeah.
We should try to breathe this stuff.
No, this is not perfluorohydrocarbon. That's the other stuff.
Okay.
We've got two conversations going on.
So back to the iPad. It sounded to me like you were sold the moment you saw it, but you guys, of course, covered it live. I only read just the numbers after the fact, and I was like, numbers slightly higher, I don't care. But yet I know the moment I see it and touch it, I'll be all like...
That's to me what's going to be the selling point, is when you look at it and it looks like it's a piece of paper or something real. It's the text is super crisp, or the image looks like it's actually on this, there on this. On
the
screen.
iPad 2 and the iPad 1 are all like that. They're you hear about it and you hear it described and you hear people gushing about it and you're like, it doesn't sound very compelling. And then you go in and play with it and there's something about it that makes you really like it. And that something is the responsiveness and the physics that they built into the design. That kind of user interface taps into your brain's understanding of how the world should work.
That's my point.
Exactly. And most of the Android tablets haven't achieved that illusion. Because
it's nonverbal. You see a 2-year-old, they can use this. It's nonverbal. It's a
orangutans.
Orangutans. You're right. We've got videos of orangutans touching them and playing with them.
And then bashing them.
It's a new market.
Well,
That's
it's not
the
made for orangutans.
No, I would hope. Well, you never know.
Did you guys see the gentleman's rant on YouTube? I think they nailed it. They got it's the same. It's like I'm gonna confess that those guys got everything exactly right.
I did not see that,
and yet we'll still buy it. I think probably.
Maybe I
it
did
up
not
right
see
now.
that.
I'm pulling it up
Cue
here.
it up.
Let's see.
Let's see it.
Who are the gentlemen?
I don't
like
know.
comedy
Collection of
troupe or
guys.
something.
Yeah.
All right. And then their rant about the iPad?
Yeah,
Okay.
about the new iPad.
All right. So they have a channel.
I'll tell you what, that's one thing. That is going to be the most significant advance in YouTube. And I would love to specifically write a comedy show that built, like we're amazed with the South Park guys, how they were within 4 days of Saddam Hussein getting captured, have a whole episode about that with music and all this stuff. We're going to see it even faster thanks to YouTube and guys like these.
We know you have the technology, and we know it's going to be in the next update. That's like a homeless person asking you for $1 and you saying you don't have one. But in reality, you do. You have $500 billion in your pocket.
Easy, Apple. We get that it's an amazing pixel ratio and nothing on the market beats it, except for any screen larger than 9 inches. Hey, you want to watch a movie on my iPad? No, I think I'm good with my 72-inch LED.
Actually,
You mad, bro?
it's higher res than your 72-inch LED. I got bad news for you.
You win again, Apple.
There's absolutely no denying that the resolution of the new iPad is nothing short of incredible, or amazing, or whatever adjective Apple's using to describe it.
Resolutionary.
It's better than your television in every single way, besides the fact that it's 49 inches smaller.
Why the hell did you leave Siri out of this update? And don't tell me it's because the technology isn't there, because that's bullshit. I hacked her onto my iPad 2 months ago. Probably shouldn't be saying this on the internet, but it's out there.
All right, I'm bored. That's all right.
Well, the other thing, the resolution is actually not better than his big screen because it has to be letterboxed to do an HD movie on the iPad.
Oh, yeah, to get the 16 by 9 on
so
there.
you end up
so
with
it
the
loses
same
less
1920
pixels.
by
It's the
1080.
same. If you do that, it is the same resolution as your 1080p screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you get more pixels than your big screen TV.
Yeah, but a lot of them are not being used when you're
watching a movie, but everything else
that's what
you
he
get
was
more
talking
pixels.
about there. I'm
and really,
defending the
what
man.
I'm talking about is, which is more significant, is PPI or pixels per inch, and there is nothing out there that is comparable in terms of PPI. I think that's what you're going to see when you look at. The only thing that's comparable, by the way, is the iPhone 4 and 4S, which are actually better. That's what you're going to look at. That's what you're going to see. You're not going to say, my big screen looks better. It doesn't.
And they've done a lot of voodoo with the pixelization. It's a relatively new technology that we haven't seen. And when this thing,
what is it? It's not IPS.
They described it in some of the propaganda.
I saw that
they did where they shut down the lighting that makes it does all the stuff that normally ruins the display. And the bottom line is that the people who have seen it are just kind of like stunned at what they see on screen.
Yeah, Ryan Block tweeted that it was the best display he's seen on anything, period.
Yeah.
It was like nothing else. And also, this is where you start to see how smart Apple was early on to push HTML5, because everything that's created in HTML5 now is now scale to the higher resolution, and everything's suddenly going to look incredible.
Yeah. So I was getting a lot of tweets and chats this morning when I came into the radio show. CNN says the ship date is slipped to March 19th. And I don't know if CNN really was that stupid or if people were misinterpreting what they were saying. It's still coming if you pre-ordered it March 16th.
I actually got a notification today that mine is shipped.
Yeah,
I think they're
coming
hold
from
it
China
to the date.
Yeah,
right?
the slaves are working on it right now.
Yes.
And it's coming from China, the children.
There's probably a finger in yours.
Yeah, maybe. No extra charge. And then for people who order today, it's March 19th. So, in fact, that's the best it's ever been for an iPad launch. They, by now it would usually be a 2-week delay. So they've been cranking these things out like crazy. It's coming drop shipped from China. That's right. It doesn't stop anywhere in the.
So did anyone?
US.
I'm surprised that nobody's mentioned the LTE integration.
Well, let's talk
excited
about
that.
Yo, didn't you predict there was no chance?
Yeah, I got John. I got it completely wrong. It's not the iPad HD. I knew the Retina display.
Yeah, but
I did not think they'll put LTE in it. They did, both Verizon and AT&T.
You had a good reason.
I had lots of good reasons, but again, I wasn't basing on some. The one thing I was basing on a rumor was on a fact is that somebody did email me saying they're from Apple. It'll be available March 9th. That was also wrong. So I get everything wrong. But that's
Normally
okay.
you don't. I think you were set up.
No. I was. This was all speculation based on me thinking, using my mind.
Trying to save the guy's career. I don't.
That was
blame
my
you.
mistake.
So I don't know. I don't know. If I want to get this, I think I would want to go all the way in. Up till now, I've only bought the cheapest 16 gigabyte Wi-Fi versions of them. But if I was going to go in on this with the specs being as high as they are, I would want to actually get a subscription. But I'm so ticked off at AT&T right now because remember last time
AT&T won't offer it anyway.
It's
just Verizon.
Well, no. I thought they had their version,
both of LTE.
4G. Yeah,
yep.
their version of LTE. Yeah. But they've started throttling me. I've gotten texts now saying that I've gone
AT&T has priced.
What are you doing? Downloading movies?
No, I'm on the road all the time. I'm just you know what? It's probably audiobooks because I use the Podcaster app that's constantly downloading.
You know what's annoying?
Audiobooks
that doesn't. We've talked about this before. It doesn't help congestion at all. The problem is not that you're using so much bandwidth. It's when you use it that matters.
Right.
That's what congestion's all about. And the guy might be using a gigabyte, but doing it at the peak hour is doing more damage than you. I bet you, because you're probably doing it late at night.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Be a little more considerate.
And the other thing, I don't think they realize. I don't think
it isn't a problem, except they're not throttling based on congestion. They're throttling totally based on bits.
Here's the problem: this is a decision that sounded smart in the boardroom, but every time they send out one of these text messages, this is a press release sent to an individual to enrage them and make them somebody go out and tell their friends how crappy AT&T is.
Well, good news.
This is a terrible.
They don't promised. Good news. They've promised no throttling on the iPad.
Well, now I'm going to have to.
But wait a minute. Now let's talk a little bit about the difference between AT&T and Verizon. One thing Verizon is allowing that AT&T is not is hotspotting.
Okay.
So one of the features of the new iPad was you could turn it into a Wi-Fi access point, as Apple said, if the carrier allows it. Well, in this case, Verizon said they would. AT&T said they would not. Verizon will not charge extra for hotspotting. So now you've got a Wi-Fi access point. Now you might have a MiFi, but and certainly your cell phone.
No, look, you're convincing me. You realize I've been with AT&T for 14 years now.
Let's talk about
this
pricing.
is going to be the straw that's going to break my back.
Let's talk about pricing.
Before we talk about pricing, we talk about the implication of an iPad, which is a mass consumer device that essentially can replace the whole router, cable arrangement, and all that stuff for people.
It's your internet service provider.
Exactly. Wow. And there's no installation. There's no confusion.
It's a little pricier.
There's no Comcast or any of these cable providers.
If you wanted 10 gigabytes from Verizon a month, it's $80. That's $8 a gigabyte. But look how the most expensive plan is the 250 megabyte plan from AT&T.
What?
$15 for two. I don't know what would you do with 250 megabytes? It's nothing. And it costs you $60 a gigabyte.
This is terrible.
3 gigs on AT&T is $30.
This is the worst thing ever. This is worse than adult onset diabetes.
Well, the price is the same when you get to 5 gigs. $50 on both sides.
According to AT&T, it's sweet.
Yeah, so if you don't want to buy a lot of data, I guess 250 megabytes would be the best deal for you, but you better not go over. And if you are a 2 gigabyte user, then I'd say if 2 to 3 gigabytes, AT&T would be the better deal because you only get $30 gets you 2 gigs on Verizon and 3 gigs on AT&T.
Now somebody is saying that there's no Netflix on your LTE. Was that an announcement? Is that a thing?
That's not true.
Yeah, that can't be true.
That's not
That'd
true.
Be stupid.
So it's essentially just $10 a gigabyte, even no matter how much. It's unlimited at $10 a gigibyte is what that 5 gigabyte.
Except for those low end plans, exactly right.
Well, so that's what I'm realizing now. You realize anyone who has an unlimited plan with AT&T, there's no point to it anymore because you're paying $30 and you get 3 gigabytes, and then you start getting throttled.
Except on the iPad.
Except on the iPad.
You don't get throttled.
Okay, well, all right.
Do what I know
but
a guy who somehow figured out how to put his iPad SIM into an iPhone so he can get that deal on his iPhone.
That's a good idea. You just chop it. Now, here's the question. Is $10 a gigabyte expensive?
I don't even know anymore. Like at this point, I'm just so...
It's really expensive.
It's
do
going
you ever put a little meter on your thing and see how many gigabytes you use?
I pay $80 for my Comcast. I get 250 gigabytes, so it's more expensive than my Comcast.
But did you ever look at what you actually use?
No, probably not that much.
No, typically it's about 80 to 100 gigabytes a month, maybe.
So it's $1 a gigabyte then.
Yeah.
But the user isn't in control of how many gigabytes they use. I mean, your favorite blog redesigns, and they use these gigantic pictures and videos and stuff like that. And
you're screwed.
Yeah, but you
they
can't.
should charge
the point
them
is that
more
there's
money.
No way the user is being asked to control something they have no information about and that they can't control.
Well, no, you can have a meter that shows and monitor it. But keep in mind also, yes, it's expensive when you're at home all the time, but man, you should see the price gouging when you're on the road. It's like I pay $15 just to check my email at a stupid hotel Wi-Fi. It's like once you experience that once, all of a sudden you think, man, I could have watched so many movies. I could have done this on the road.
Hotels get away with this, to be honest with you. It's just that's just.
And the worst part is the fancier a hotel, the classier the price gouging.
Yeah, you
is.
find the middle range hotels. You have a lot of free Wi-Fi and a lot of other good deals.
We're going to take a break. John C. Dvorak is here, channeldvorak.com. Brian Brushwood from Game On, Scam School, and Shwood.com. Mike Elgan of Elgan.com. There's a little more Apple, and then there's some other things we can also talk about, I hope.
Let's talk about that video that exploded. Over 1 million thumbs up on it.
The Coney video.
It is the mass marketing of a supervillain.
Yeah.
It is it is the most media savvy thing I've ever witnessed.
So media savvy. We'll talk about it. Even my son said to me, have you seen the Coney video? It's very interesting.
We all realize it's a scam.
Well, and then there's a backlash as well. All right, we'll talk about it.
Let's save that. Let's save it. Right now, though, I'd like to talk a little bit about, that's a good topic, obviously. Go to my PC, GOTOMYPC.com. It is the missing link for remote access if you're using an iPad or an iPhone. Here's the deal. Right now, go to your, well, if you're not at work, you don't have to do this, but if you're at work, go to your office computer, go to the website, go to mypc.com, click the Try It Free button, and use the offer code TWiT. Now, this will be 30 days free. You're set. Now, leave. If you've got an iPhone, an iPad, leave, or, of course, a laptop, and you can log into that computer and use it, and use every bit of it on the apps, the free apps for iPad and iPhone. So let's say you're on the way to the airport and you forgot your keynote presentation, your PowerPoint presentation, or you need to send a quick office-based email. You want to tell the boss you're still at work late. You just log in from your iPhone, and there it is. You're running Windows or Macintosh on your iPhone. You can send and receive email, access any network resource, run any program just as if you were there. I cannot wait to see a Go to My PC app for the new iPad. Because then you'll have more resolution. You'll actually get the full screen on your iPad. It'll be mind-boggling. Try it free for 30 days right now. Go to mypc.com, click the Try It Free button. The offer code is TWiT. The apps are free. This is remote access done right from Citrix, of course. So it's secure, it's fast, it's easy to use. Go to mypc.com, offer code TWiT. We thank them for their support of This Week in Tech. So we did the Pepsi Coke challenge, and I drank them both.
Brushwood, bring the bourbon out here.
Actually, John knows where the bourbon is. I don't know if Brian does.
I'm sure he does.
So let's talk about Coney. I don't, this thing blew up on the internet. Has it been just a week? 43 million views the last time I checked.
Yeah, I think it's a bot that cranked those numbers up, to be honest.
I don't know. When my son,
it's a half-hour show. I've seen other things that never gotten those numbers.
It is a long video, isn't it?
Popular.
It is a long
why
video.
This one went viral. They've done several of them.
I think it's a bot. I think it's been hitting.
Dude, I'll
these
tell you
guys
why
are making these. Most of this is a charity called Invisible Children. This thing was actually produced around 2005, 2004.
Oh, it's old.
It's old.
Okay, Coney,
not the video, but the
yes, the video's old. It was been re-edited.
It's at
from a movie that was made.
71 million views right now.
I'm not buying any of it.
Yeah.
So it aims to make a person named Joseph Coney.
That part's okay. The guy's a creep.
No, but
he's been out of office for years.
Since 2005.
That's when they did the original video, and then he got rousted, and so they kept his video around. I said, what are we going to do now for an encore?
He's not even in the country.
No, he's not in the country.
And he has no army, and it's the whole thing is over.
So here's what's brilliant about this. Number one, it is beautifully produced, and the internet instantly responds to extremely high production value.
But that's where the money of this organization goes, into making movies and videos.
Yeah, we'll talk about the backlash here in a moment, but the reason this is a success is because it starts off with a challenge to the viewer. It's got all this beautiful video, and it says if you stick around, it challenges you to stick around for the whole 30 minutes, and it's here's the most important thing. the story is not about the mass tragedy. The story is about one individual. And when they put together, this is something Chad Johnson told me about. When they did studies to see how many kids they could put on screen who are dying of starvation, and whether having more starving kids makes you more compassionate. Turns out that once you go past one person, each additional person you add, you throw up your hands, you're like, I can't care about this. So they make it about one person, and it's a very compelling story. And then they also make it relatable because he keeps putting his 5-year-old kid on there, or 4-year-old kid, saying like, this is a bad guy. Why don't you do something about the bad guy? It's an amazing video to watch. Now, the backlash,
as
of course,
a piece of propaganda.
Well, yeah, no, as a piece of manipulation, as something to get people motivated. Now, here's the other thing. I've not heard one person point out that this is a pitch reel to start a war. This is
a U.S. involvement
we're already over there, and this guy's not there anyway. So this is not a pitch.
We have 100 advisors in Uganda training the Uganda army to track this guy down. He isn't in Uganda anymore. Hasn't been there for 6 years.
Well, and
it's a little baffling, frankly, because I'm not sure what the angle is. Did they ask for money in the video?
No, what they ask is for, and here's the other thing, they have an action point. I think it's on 4/20, which is interesting date to pick. They want everybody to go out and put up propaganda posters for Coney 2012. It taps into that awesome white liberal guilt because we don't have anyone to be afraid of or hate right now, and so but we can all feel like we're doing something by wearing a wristband, and we have a new bad guy in town. I mean, this is brilliant marketing. But the problem is the organization itself. Reddit took them to task. They broke them down. They said, here's the breakdown of your financials. You're giving 16% of your total budget to the children. The rest is travel, over $1 million in travel in 1 year. The rest is filmmaking and marketing and in salaries, and over $400,000 for your offices.
Not necessarily wrong, because this is very effective in awareness raising. They're taking the money you donate to them. I hope they're being upfront about it and not implying that it goes to kids. It's going to them to make this propaganda, which is apparently very effective in raising awareness. I don't think that's necessarily wrong. They're not saying you're going to donate money to invisible children and we're going to help the children, are they? Or are they?
Well, I mean, that's the whole point of it, is to help the children.
Well, but they're helping the children in a different way.
Okay.
They're helping the children by raising awareness and
collecting money on their behalf.
My biggest gripe about this is that it's just so obvious to them that the answer is direct military intervention. How's that worked out for the U.S.
Is that what
so
they're
far?
asking for?
Yes.
All right.
They're saying
but that's
that is our
because
stated
it's based
goal.
on the old movie. That's the only reason that came up, as far as I can tell.
And there's this bizarre 5 minutes in the middle where it's nothing but self-congratulation. It's so fascinating to watch this explode and the backlash.
Yeah, 71 million hit.
I'm
now,
not
I
buying
believe that these
number.
are real. I understand what you're saying, John, because it's very long. In fact,
it's only been out for a very short time. I've seen viral stuff before, and it's never cranked up these numbers like this.
I was put off, too, because the first minute or so is really not even content. It's share this video, share this video, share this video. The internet is powerful. Share this video. I wonder how many people watched the whole thing. How many of you in the audience, we got about 20 people in the audience, watched this entire video?
Nobody.
Not one person.
Eileen.
That's because these numbers are bogus.
Eileen. Well, you get a number just by starting it.
Eileen.
You don't get a number for finishing it. You get a number for starting.
Right. Well,
so that's starts. 71 million starts. You watched it all the way? Start. How many starts? All of you started it. Me too. I didn't finish it.
Well, not all of you.
It's very well done.
3.
It's very, very well
My son, it's interesting, he's 17. Everybody's talking about it in the high school. Yeah. It clearly, I believe they have 71 million starts.
I'll tell you, you're going to see it on April 20th. I mean, every kid's going to sneak out of their parents' house. And
what are they
feel
supposed to do?
They're supposed to go around and put up posters, that say Coney 2012. Put it right up next to the Romney and the Obama posters.
Oh, they do ask for a donation. Donate to Invisible Children. This is interesting. You know what the name of the Invisible Children website is? StayClassy.org.
No.
San Diego.
I kid you not.
That's hilarious.
There's an invisiblechildren.com site, too.
This is the link on the YouTube. It's stayclassy.org. That is
wow.
bizarre.
From the chat room, they're saying that somebody's English teacher made the whole class watch it. I mean, look, nobody disputes that it's a good cause to not want children to get their faces cut up and not want to get children.
Well, that's why it's difficult
kidnapped.
to criticize because, of course, Coney's a creep, and what he's doing is it's horrendous.
But the problem is that they're calling for everybody to ally themselves
system
with the government, online which also has child soldiers, which also does all these things. I mean, there are
actual legitimate charities,
and that's the real problem. This is a political this is a whole area where none of us know anything about it. We have no idea. The worst parts of the world are the parts where there aren't enough government to protect basic civil liberties and to enforce contract law and stuff. If you want to do something, I would imagine, dude, just give Bill Gates $1 billion and have him fix it.
And the software piracy,
because he's got no money.
Horrible. How
about Doctors Without Borders? There's a good operation.
There you go.
The good thing about this is that all these kids who have their heads wrapped around social media are actually learning that Uganda exists, that bad people exist, that all, so it's an entree into reading and learning more. And all this debate about how it's baloney and all that stuff is also good. Some of those people who are sharing and putting up signs and all that stuff are going to actually educate themselves about an issue that is of the type that kids don't know anything about. Right. So it's actually kind of cool in that regard. It's
kind of cool since our educational system can't seem to get it together to teach the kids anything about world events.
I'll tell you what, though, the internet, like with Khan Academy and what's possible on the internet, it almost makes me feel good about who cares what the educational system's like, because you could get as smart as you want, as fast as you want, thanks to the internet now.
You know what's so weird? I thought the way
want.
this was done with the action kit that this guy was running for something.
But that's what they're
very strange.
That's
I mean,
what they're
it feels like
trying to
he's
do.
running for president in 2012. By the way, they say
What is that symbol, by the way? The upside down peace sign with try at the top.
They want to end peace. They want the soldiers to go in and kill this guy.
Actually, that's right.
There's too much peace.
Too much peace in the world.
You do have to wonder, who are these people? They claim that they are storytellers, activists, and everyday people who use the power of media to inspire young people. We make documentaries. So they're not lying about that. But then in the next paragraph it says, we don't stop there. Our development professionals from Central Africa partner with local communities, education programs, economic initiatives. So it does imply that if you're giving them money, some of that money is going to go to fixing the problem.
So out of everything in the video, the most brilliant one is the fact that they've set a deadline for it. The fact that they've created this artificial deadline of it has to happen this year or it'll never happen. And as Justin Robert Young points out, the classic element of every long con is the part where you explain, and that's why you have to give me that money right now. It's like it's brilliant.
Yeah. They do have
for a
now,
long con.
They do now have a page called Critiques that responds to the criticism and offers financial statements. I mean, they're trying to be transparent here. They do admit the way we achieve our goals is to make the world aware of the LRA, channel energy from viewers of our films into large-scale advocacy campaigns. And then they mention in part 3 is to operate programs on the ground. Here's their breakdown of expenses. I think they are attempting to respond to these.
They want to make movies. But they've only made this one movie. I mean, they made The Invisible Children in 2006. There's a good wiki page on it if you go to Invisible Children on the wiki, on the Book of Knowledge. And then they've got this Coney 2012 thing, which is their latest thing, which is... Do
you think this is a bunch of people? This is one guy?
Yeah, well, they show the real... No, it's a bunch of people. Directed by Jason Russell, which is the guy in this thing, but also Bobby Bailey, Lauren Poole, music. They got a music guy. I think it's a little team, probably about 10 people.
So, look, there's no doubt
this is too slick to be some guy cranking this thing out on Final Cut Pro at home.
These are extremely well-intentioned people. There's no doubt about that. But there's a lot that they got to clear up if they want to actually make something happen. Invisible Children has a 2-star rating and accountability because they refuse to allow outside audits of their financials. So again, maybe those numbers are exactly right, what they're putting on the website.
But they're not
But
audited.
we can't know unless there's a
I
third
think
party.
what they are is they're a new type of documentary filmmaker. It's a documentary with the spin of advocacy and a cause and a call to action that's very specific. Almost all documentaries, from Super Size Me to whatever, are generally trying to get you to do something, generally trying to get you to be against something or in favor of something. But these guys are taking it further and saying, we want you to do something very, very specific.
Well, and very,
about
very
this one
simple.
person.
No,
Yes.
that's the thing, is they understand the message is the right message. The guy's a genuine creeper. The story of the one kid who escaped is extremely compelling. And the answer, go out and spend a night on the town putting up posters in a month, sounds awesome.
But the
takeaway
is that they're more Michael Moore than they are Amnesty International.
Absolutely.
They're filmmakers.
Absolutely. That is the takeaway. Absolutely. More Michael Moore.
It's interesting. And the video
You
was
mean more
posted.
Michael Moore, like Michael Moore, the guy who actually did have meetings with Smith at General Motors, even though he claimed he never did?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of the scandalous part of that.
They posted this March 5th. So in less than a week, 70 million views. It's
Incredible.
pretty astounding.
Well, and also look at the even with the backlash, less than 1% thumbs down on the video.
Yeah.
And before the backlash started, it was even more. It was like 99.9% all positive.
Still, the way it's spun, it's like, boo, I hate children. It's like, what are you going to, how are you going to,
I do think it's a lesson in propaganda and polemic, not necessarily for ill, maybe for good, but fascinating, and also a lesson in the use of social media. One of the things they did is they've targeted celebrities, 20 celebrity culture makers and 12 policy makers, trying to get everybody to tweet them, to message them, to talk to them. Oprah's one of them. Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, Lady Gaga, Mark Zuckerberg.
Look at the second list. Do you have the list in front of you? There's a couple of screwy people on there.
Oprah, Rihanna, and Justin Bieber.
Yeah, well,
it's an interesting. Well, but look, people asked me to tweet it. I actually held off because I wasn't sure. I wanted to hear more about it.
And this is the amazing thing. 10 years ago, if you had discovered a document from an internal document from some company saying we're going to target these 20 people and try to convince them they'll become our public mouthpieces, it would have been a giant PR backlash on you. But now they build it into the documentary, just transparent and in the open. And as a result, everyone's like, yeah, sure, that's great. Go. It's amazing to me how different we perceive a targeted strike like this now.
Right. Fascinating. I just find it very interesting.
I find it disturbing.
Do you?
Yeah.
Because they're so
less
effective.
transparency.
No,
because they're good.
Well, I think I question the numbers. I don't like any bit of it. I think the whole thing is it stinks.
You don't believe 71 million?
Well, I don't believe the 71 million for starters, and I don't know how hard it would be. And I think we could talk to some people about this to make a bot network.
Click bot, yeah,
that could click away.
Now, have you watched the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, see, the moment I saw it, I knew this was going to be huge. I believe the YouTube numbers entirely. Now, they're accused of exaggerating the numbers of kidnappings and the current state of disaster.
So why wouldn't they exaggerate other things?
YouTube numbers are generally inflated anyway.
Because if you start it, it's a view.
Right. And we see numbers that, look, I know a little bit about what numbers are and then what this show does, what CNN does, what the screensavers did. And these numbers are orders of magnitude larger than any media I've ever seen.
But everybody, in fact, is talking about it, including us, for about 10 minutes. And this show alone has added 10,000 views to this thing in the last 10 minutes.
Maybe. A lot of it, perhaps. A lot of it, though, is because of those numbers are so attractive to invite discussion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If it weren't 71
but
million,
nobody
would we be
questions the numbers. That's what gets me.
No,
I have heard nobody say anything about it. And you know as well as I do how these things work and how you can create a network to pound the site.
Let's do it.
We could.
Can we do it for our shows instead? I want to take a break and come back with more. This is a great conversation. We have Google to talk about. Why are companies leaving Google Maps? And a lot more in just a little bit. But first, a reminder that Squarespace.com is offering you a very good deal right now. If you're looking to get hosting for a website, whether it's a blog, a portfolio, if you're an artist or a photographer, a site to sell your goods, a site just to promote yourself, Squarespace.com is the secret behind exceptional websites. Websites for the world's most creative people. I love it because all you have to do is go to Squarespace.com and click this Try It Free button. You don't need a credit card, just the name of your new site, a password, and an email address. You don't even need our offer code. And for 2 weeks, you can try Squarespace. Try all the features, the iPad and Android apps, actually the iPhone, iPad, and Android apps, social integration, the point and click, the import and export from all the major platforms, statistics, templates, brand new ones too. They've got 13 new template redesigns, 85 new style options, 2 brand new templates. They have the new Google Web Font Library giving you 300 fonts. You see some of that actually on the Squarespace site itself. You'll see even more if you click the examples button and take a look at what people are doing with Squarespace. A 24/7 support team. And if you visit workshops.squarespace.com, you'll see that they also have free live classes to help you get the most out of your Squarespace website. Great stuff. Squarespace, and I have to tell you, I've been playing with 6. I'm moving my Leoville to Squarespace 6. Just incredible. 6 will be out soon. The hosting, the software, altogether, this is a great
Do you know what we've started doing with Squarespace? Is when you have an event.
Ad hoc sites.
Yeah. When you have an event that's less than 2 weeks away, just jump on and do their free trial.
Right.
When we did our
That's a great
NSFW
idea.
event. Yeah, we did our NSFW event.
Sure.
I didn't want just the tweet. I wanted the tweet to link to something that would
That's
be
brilliant.
there for the next 2 weeks.
You
and
know,
so we
and
just
then
threw it in there.
You let it expire, and
And Squarespace loves that. That's not
They
you're
don't
not
mind?
taking because they know the more often you use the tool,
Right.
even if you're using it just on the free trial,
Right.
that when you need the product and you're in a place to spend money, that they'll do it.
You do some great stuff with Squarespace. In fact, I love your ads for Squarespace. But I just want people to go there right now. Squarespace.com. If you decide to buy, prices are very affordable. Remember, you're getting hosting and the software for as little as $12 a month. If you decide to buy, use our offer code TWiT3 for March, TWiT3. Well, it could be also for 30% off for 3 months. That's the deal. 30% off for 3 months when you use the offer code TWiT3. Anthony and the gang at Squarespace are just fantastic. We love being a part of Squarespace. And my job tonight when I go home is to start working on that Squarespace 6 site. I'm so excited. I'm really looking forward to it. So Apple, when they showed the iPad and they showed Maps, showed something that didn't look like anything we'd ever seen before.
Yeah.
They apparently have abandoned Google Maps.
And they're not the only ones, are they?
Well, that's the thing. I knew that Apple hated Google, so I wasn't surprised to see them abandon Google Maps.
Well, and keep in mind, this isn't for core stuff. This is just in the iPhoto, right? For the geotagging and
Well,
stuff.
I bet
right.
you it'll. Yeah, they
It's
still have a
just the
Google
beginning,
Maps
though.
app, but I bet you
Yeah.
anything that won't be much
I mean,
longer.
both of these-
Foursquare's not using it anymore.
Both Foursquare and Apple have been directly competed against by Google. And in Apple's case, this is something that I specifically predicted as part of their thermonuclear war, where they're just going to start abandoning Google services, including soon enough Google Search itself, which Siri currently uses. But eventually, Apple wants to get us all using Siri instead of searching, and then they'll swap out the search engine so Google isn't involved. But basically,
They want to get Google out of the mix, of course.
That's right, because Google doesn't. Google is it wants to destroy Foursquare and
Wait, why would they want to destroy Foursquare?
because they want to do everything that they do. They want to take their. They want to be the location.
But do you really
I
think
would doubt
that's the
that. I don't think they
motivation
want to destroy
for charging
Foursquare,
for their
but I have
They
a
must
feeling
die.
They want all the
service
money.
is
Yes, I
expensive.
think that,
Well, yeah, and they've been doing it for free for coming up a half decade.
but eventually
now.
they're going to want all the money in that space, and yes, that's the motivation. They want all the money.
Okay, but
And if there's no money for
Boy, you just got a bad attitude about these guys.
But maybe they want some money. Is it okay for them to ask for some money?
money.
Because it's been free.
We want
You know,
all
but if you're
the money.
they have text charges for it. Telstar, all these companies charge for their data. It's very expensive to create this data.
But the point is that if you're in direct, if you're looking at a future where you're going to be really in heated competition with them, you don't want to get your maps from them. I mean, it's not a comfortable position to be in.
Well, I mean, if they were to violate that, that's it. That would be illegal for them to screw you over.
You can't. I mean, look at what Google's been very aggressive lately at being super competitive about things and saying, just basically grabbing stuff and saying, well, we're going to do this. We're going to put Google
That's
Plus on
Larry.
search.
It's like
I think that's
Microsoft.
Larry.
It's a
the
Microsoft
Microsoft
approach.
of Google.
Really?
And I just-
Microsoft's always,
embrace and devour, or
Yeah,
engulf
that kind
and
of thing.
inflame.
Embrace and
take
replace.
ideas and steal them.
But it's just these guys have to go to their investors and say, yeah, we depend entirely on our direct competitor.
Well,
it's not a good meeting.
yes.
The problem is Google's maps in particular are
they
that
bad?
Street View. No,
amazing.
it's bad. They're
They're
unbelievable. They're great.
Now, Microsoft's
fantastic.
Bing Maps is very good. But now, the
Yeah,
thing
but you
about
don't have you
OpenStreetMap
don't
that I
show
find
the guy's
interesting.
house. I mean, the steps. You can go street
Right.
view. You can look overhead. It's like amazing. They have gone out of their way to make that a killer.
Someday we'll
product.
be able to go into the house, go through the house. Here's the bathroom.
If
Look,
that
it's
ever
so-
happened, it wouldn't surprise me.
Can't
be
wait.
opt-in.
I don't want to go to the bathroom necessarily.
Like, oh, you forgot to opt out of this.
What is
We're
this
looking in your
waterless
bathroom.
toilet you've got in the bathroom here?
That's right.
Well, we just want to be green.
Because I remember the
You saw it
toilet
in
was
Google Maps.
it was in Google Maps.
What?
You can go check it out.
You just
You had another toilet before, and it blew up or something, and then you got this.
we've always had that wireless toilet.
Oh.
I missed the sign that said "For a good time, call Leo." Somebody take that.
Yeah, I like that
Somebody
sign.
take that down?
Yeah, no, and
Yeah,
it
it's
reminds you
gone.
to pee on the bee. You know who you are, is what it said on there.
Now I got to
Who
put your
took
number.
that down? I wonder. That's
So-
been there for since we moved in. Anyway, I want to point. First of all, I want to give a lot of props to OpenStreetMap. This
Yes.
is a really amazing group. OpenStreetMap.org. It's open source mapping. The reason they're doing this is anybody with a GPS can contribute to this map. You don't even need a GPS if you want, because you can just sign up and say, hey, I'd like to improve this map. I live in this neighborhood and that street's wrong. That street's one way. And it does a great job. And I would say their mapping data, hand done effectively, is in many ways competitive with Google's. Doesn't work as well in areas that are thinly populated, but if you're looking at a city, it's great. But Apple did something interesting. Apple's maps, which look very cool, these map tiles and retro, they're using the data from OpenStreetMap. That's the OpenStreetMap version of this area, and this is on a blog, alastyra.wordpress.com, and she's compared those. And OpenStreetMaps themselves say, yes, it is apparent that Apple's using our data, 2-year-old data, in violation of our license. You're supposed to acknowledge that. We have newer data. We don't understand why Apple's using this older data. And they say, we hope that Apple will come into compliance with our agreement. They were being very nice. They're saying, we're thrilled that Apple's using this. And we understand that Apple probably just forgot to.
Oh, yeah, they forgot.
Just forgot
That's
to
what
thank
they do.
us.
They're careless.
And I'm sure they will.
So think in terms of these guys are the Wikipedia to Google's Encyclopedia Britannica,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So with Wikipedia, it's up to the minute, and again, there'll be parts with higher fidelity than other parts, but it's not very pretty. They don't have a very pretty display, so it makes
think
sense.
it's okay,
That's why
but I would understand why. Yeah.
Both Foursquare and Apple are going to great pains to clean everything up. I got to think that this was it is a significant slip up for as media savvy as Apple tends to be, for them to not give mad props to the folks where they're getting their data from.
They're using it for iPhoto, so it's not like it's being used as a mapping. It's not, you're not getting turn-by-turn directions from this thing. It's for geolocating your photos.
Right.
So it's kind of a minor feature. So I think it's entirely possible that
Even if it's old data, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
you're not looking for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm sure that something has to come of this.
Jonathan Bennett, writing in the OpenStreetMap Foundation blog, says, welcome, Apple. We're rather pleased. They say the data is rather old, so don't expect to see your latest and greatest updates on there. It's also missing the necessary credit to our contributors. We look forward to working with Apple to get that on there.
Oh, dude. That's all code for how many zeros in that check, Apple.
Well, no.
Donations in order.
It's free, and all they have to do.
Do they have a common?
It's Creative Commons.
Well,
all they have to do is
there's legal
PayPal
aspects
account?
to Creative Commons crediting.
Actually, I don't know what the crediting agreement is, but there is a license agreement. You're allowed to use it, but you do have to give credit.
That's I think.
If I can be slightly conspiratorial, it's possible that Apple, first of all, if somebody brought up in a meeting, hey, this is, it's open source and all that stuff, but we have to give them credit. We have to do this, that, and the other thing. And they probably said, you know what? If we have to do that, they'll call us out on it, and we can do that retroactively.
Right.
Meanwhile, everybody's talking about the Maps feature of iPhoto for iOS. I mean, it's.
Do you think? Wait, do you think they just didn't plan on getting this much attention?
If this didn't happen, nobody would even be thinking about geographic data in iPhoto.
Oh, so you think
iOS.
this is on purpose that they did this to stir up a little bit of
I don't.
ruckus?
But if it had been, it would have been a great idea. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as
Why
bad
didn't they
publicity.
think
That's very
of it?
softcore conspiracy theory right there. Like,
I mean,
I'm not
but
saying
everybody's going to know that iPhoto for iOS has this mapping stuff in there, and they're going to want to learn more about that.
Apple's tiles, by the way, look great. This is the OpenStreetMap tile. This is the Apple tile. So they had some. Obviously, they didn't have an illustrator do it all, but they had somebody create, I guess, a program to take this data and retro it. Is kind of what it looks like.
Apple, do the classy thing. Write these guys a check. They're doing really good work, and you can't lose by donating for them.
So that's the
Free
OpenStreetMap, which is pure function.
They only have $100 billion in the
That's
bank.
Apple.
Well, yeah,
They can't afford
$500
it.
billion. They have $500 billion in cash laying around.
No,
It's 100.
They have
That guy
$3
said
trillion. I saw it on the internet.
I'm kind of. I have to say, I've used and love OpenStreetMap. It's used in a lot of apps that can't afford to buy Google Maps. And these guys, a lot of contributors. Every map is done by thousands of volunteers, and I do think they deserve credit. And it's a little cheesy of Apple. What OpenStreetMap pointed out is Apple has a lot of open source projects. They support open source. They give back to open source. So surely it was just an oversight. I would really like you to correct that, Apple, because this is a good group.
And you got standing with Apple.
And they're listening to me. and I just think it just seems inappropriate, frankly, to do this. So why are companies defecting from Google, besides the fact that you think Google is trying to kill them?
I can't believe they're just asking for some money, not all the money.
No, it's an exaggeration to say they're trying to kill them. I'm sure that Google would love for them to not die as long as they get 100% of the revenue from that market. Every company that's publicly traded in every market is trying to get as much business from that market as possible, and that's 100%.
Well,
that's
but
the maximum
question
possible.
is, there are two different ways to do that. You can either do that by investing in where there's relatively wide open fields that there's just money laying everywhere. You could run over there and grab it, or you could do it by consolidating everything and saying, okay, there's only so much money here. Let's get all the money there is. I still think Google's very much focused on the bigger picture. They're still running around grabbing where there are dollars that nobody even realizes yet.
Well, but that's Google's perspective. But from the perspective of Foursquare or anybody else who's both competing with and entirely depending on Google, it's an uncomfortable relationship, especially given Google's newfound aggressiveness under Larry Page, and they've just demonstrated that, look, we're going to dominate these markets. We're going to have a single unified product where everything is all about Google, and that's just an uncomfortable thing. And I think that's what these two things have in common, Apple and Foursquare. They're both competing aggressively with Google, and they don't like relying on their competitor.
Do you think Larry's going to be the next Bill Gates, where everyone thinks he's the devil until he retires?
I think Larry's
Google to Microsoft.
I think Larry's the new Steve Jobs, actually.
The cutthroat guy. He certainly has taken a lot of lessons from Steve, and admits it.
Yes,
and admits it. Says he's my mentor.
Everybody just looks right to John.
What am I supposed to say?
I don't know.
I don't think Google's that bad. I mean, I don't think that Larry's that type of guy. I think he's a little soft-spoken, generally speaking. He doesn't stick himself out there like Steve Jobs used to do, or he's always the head, showing up all the time. I'm not buying this theory. I think it's an interesting idea that they're trying to screw everybody.
I think they want Foursquare to succeed, and I just think Foursquare said, we don't want to pay the money.
I like the theory, but I'm not buying it.
They can't donate this stuff forever. Come on. He's just trying to put them on a good financial footing. Google's really hurting.
Besides that, they could they could buy them if they really thought it was that important.
Foursquare or Apple? Apple could buy Google.
No, well, that
Google
would be
could buy Apple and
Actually,
Foursquare?
Apple could. No, they can't.
Apple should buy Google.
Can't be done. So, but they could buy Foursquare. Google
they easily could buy Foursquare. Yeah. You know why they won't? Because the guy who founded Foursquare has already been bought by Google and hated it. He sold a company called Dodgeball.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's why it's called Foursquare, is because it was the heart of
I think we'll never
that's right. I forgot all about that
again.
Yeah.
He's
then
Google. Okay, well then there's even more validity to the
He's
thesis.
Not. Yeah, he worked at Google, so he knows a little bit about.
Why isn't Google buying any companies anymore? They bought a gazillion companies
last year. Was the year of acquisition, and
this
year
there's nothing.
Larry.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, Larry has.
Well, maybe Larry's taking the idea, like, why are we? Because all buying decisions are make-buy decisions. Yeah. So you have the thing, and I've always criticized some of these companies for just buying up.
What is a make-buy decision?
A make-buy decision is you got a thing you want to do. You want to make this kind of a product and say, we can buy these guys who do this already, or we can make it ourselves. And so you do a calculation, say, how long would it take us to ramp up and make the same product and compete with these guys? And you say, well, it would take a year, and how much would it cost us? It would cost us twice as much as if we bought these guys. That's your make-buy decision, so you just buy the guys.
Right.
But most make-buy decisions, it seems to me they seem to be based on time structures. It seems to be based on time structures because the fact is you have only a limited amount of time before you can get into that business. And so if it's going to take you too long, you'll spend extra money for the make decision or the buy decision. You'll buy these guys anyway, even though you could have done it.
Right. You could easily do it.
You could easily do it. Right. They don't need to buy anybody.
Google's got latitude. Google has something very similar to Foursquare.
Does anybody use it? I mean, I use it a little bit, but
I use it. It's on. If you wanted to track me, you could.
Well, like anything else, anything social related, the value to it depends on who you know that's using it as well. And if you're the only one, what's the point?
Well, I'll be your latitude buddy if you'll be my latitude.
Speaking of which, how come everybody at TWiT loves Path? Why? What's up with Path?
I don't.
I have a theory.
I don't use it.
Leo, this is my theory as to why people
use
Leo.
Path?
I do.
You're on it, but you don't post much.
I don't post much. I try to a little bit, but here's why. Here's why some people like it.
Dan Patterson just resigned from Path. He said, I'm done. I'm going to post on Twitter.
Only 50 people found out about it, though.
But people who are really hardcore and have been doing social networking have essentially handed over their social networking life to the public.
It's branding.
They don't get to actually do social networking.
No, you're
what
exactly
you do on Google Plus and Facebook is not social networking.
No, it's branding. It's public branding. Yeah.
And you'd like a social network.
Which
like
Path is.
Else.
It's my buddies.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's actually a real social network.
This is amazing because it's an entire business model based on artificial scarcity. It's based on the fact that there's a fantastic article written by a guy called David Wong. It's a pseudonym called The Monkey Sphere. And it talks about how anthropologists have figured out that based on the size of different monkey tribes, you could gauge from the size of their brain how big their tribe will be. And they did it for rhesus monkeys, for apes, for all these different things. And sure enough, they had a 1-to-1 correlation based on the size of the brain.
This article is on cracked.com.
Wait, this is before Cracked. This was like a half decade ago.
So this is where you're getting your material now, eh?
I just want to point out.
No.
This is on cracked.com. Oh, go ahead.
It's a brilliant article. But, this is back when he was doing Pointless Waste of Time was originally what this was from.
Much more credible than Cracked.
But then when you apply that thinking of the size of the brain to the number of people in a tribe, and you look at humans, you see that there's only about 120 people that we can keep in our mind that are real people. Anyone else is the other to us. The guy who picks up our garbage is not a real person. I won't run out. Like, and the story he uses is talking about a story of somebody who put glass in a box because he was worried about the garbage man cutting himself. We don't do that now. It's like we'll throw razor blades and HIV-infected needles in our garbage. We don't care. And then, but that's the problem with social networks, is that they're not real people to us. We love hearing from them, and we think of them as this cloud of people.
But our brains can't handle it.
Exactly. My wife is a person. My kid is a person. My mom is a person. The rest is just other. And that's what Path is based on, is that everybody in your social network is a real person to you, and that artificial scarcity, if you want to bring someone else in, you got to kick somebody else out.
Actually, artificial scarcity is a kind of a trend because people are overwhelmed by too much of everything. And if you look at like Twitter, then it's a scarcity of space for typing the message. If you look at, I prefer actually these days Apple's Pages instead of Microsoft Word, because when I go to get a font, there's only like 6 fonts to choose from. One of them is either Helvetica or Arial or one of the ones that I use. I go to Microsoft and go to choose a font, and it's like 6,000 fonts.
It's decision fatigue. There's only so much you can handle. And in fact, most people early in the day, they waste, there's literally only so much decisions you can make before you just stop caring. And there's all these psychological studies that show late in the day, you're just like, I don't know, I'll push it till tomorrow. I won't decide. Or it's like, give everyone just a yes or yes answer so that you can sell them later in the day.
Wong actually says in this article, this is why society doesn't work, because we don't care enough about other people. Although that Coney 2012 is interesting.
Well, again,
because that's making us care about, you're right, one kid.
One person.
But, so they're adding that one person to our Dunbar number in a very clever way. They were smart enough not to make it about all the children.
Except for there's only one brief moment where in 5 seconds it's just like a bunch of scarred faces.
Right,
and then you're like, by the way, this is a bigger deal than just one person.
Right. But you can't encompass that in your monkey brain.
Right.
So we're going to show you this one person again.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's kind of, it makes sense. I'm not looking at you ever again. Every time I look at him, he goes.
This is an audio podcast. What do you have? What are you going to buy one of these things?
I want to show you a little bit of something. We're going to take a break, come back with more John C. Dvorak, Mike Elgan, Schwood. This is TWiT, and this is the forest toad.
What?
Yes.
Like that. You wonder why I have this baffled look on my face.
Words are good.
Toad forest. No, that's wrong.
I
must have just had a little stroke. This is the Ford Taurus.
Yes, these things.
It's too much Coke.
A little Coke, not a
Coke
stroke.
gave me stroke. I'm going to get sued probably by the Coca-Cola bottling company. That's it on that lifestyle.
Yeah, it's that new design.
Freestyle. This is the 2013, but there's some interesting things in here. There's this curve control.
This is amazing.
You know about this?
Well, this is how everyone keeps saying, like, when are we going to have cars that drive themselves?
Exactly.
We're already there. Do you realize that they are making legislation anticipating that in 4 years we'll have cars that drive themselves, and that they need to decide now what the legalities are? And this is a case where it's like everyone's going to think it's a bad idea until it saves their life. And then they're going to realize it's the best thing ever.
Well, I think what we're getting is like semi-autonomous cars. This is what Alan Mulally, the CEO of Ford, said. He was in aviation. He worked at Boeing before he went to Ford. He built all of the major Boeing planes that are flying, including the 777. He said in aviation, of course, by the way, these planes land themselves. The pilot was talking to me the other day. They land themselves all the time. They say, oh, yeah, we use autopilot to land.
I actually have to test it every 2 months. I was in one of them that was on a landing.
Was it so good?
They had to apologize.
Well, I'm sorry, the computer didn't do such a good job.
It was the plane came down real hard and then bounced way up into the air and came down again.
Okay, I'm not going on that particular model, but but apparently the guy told me, no, we frequently let the plane land itself.
Good,
but
the faster
Alan
we can,
was saying, Alan was saying, you will never take pilots out of the airplane. The idea is to have these systems support you instead of take over for you. And he says people are never going to let cars drive themselves. It's just too scary. But what we're doing in the Fords is we're increasing the support for the driver, giving them more information. And this is curve control is a really good example. If you take a curve too quickly, how many times have you done that? That's where you skid out. That's where you go out of control.
And there's ice on the road.
It's one of the most dangerous things that can happen. So what the 100 times a second, this new 2013 Taurus is calculating roll rate, yaw rate, lateral acceleration, wheel speed, steering angle. It basically is trying to figure out how quickly the vehicle is turning versus how quickly the driver's trying to make it turn. Because that's what happens, right? You try to make it turn faster than it can, and it's gone. So when it senses a problem, it reduces engine torque, it applies four-wheel braking, slows the vehicle up to 10 miles an hour in a second.
You know what it'll feel like? It'll feel exactly like this is going to be as important an innovation as anti-lock brakes.
Yeah, exactly.
You can feel when they engage, and you're thankful for it,
and you're grateful.
And they have the same thing with too fast acceleration, where your tires would spin out.
Yeah, traction control.
Right.
Yeah. So this is just what's really interesting is you're exactly right. They're paying a lot of attention to this. They know it makes cars safer. They know people still want to drive, so they make it so that the car is more fault tolerant, more error tolerant, and protects you as you're driving. This is one of the reasons you want to take a look at the 2013 Ford Taurus. It is an amazing vehicle. You can visit this site right now, ford.com/car/Taurus. But really, the best thing to do is go to a Ford dealer and drive one.
And try to flip it.
Tell the guy first. Say, I'm going to try to flip it. Do you mind?
It works for Squarespace, right? Nobody could crash it. Let's see if anybody can crash this.
I don't know. I'm not going to recommend that. But there is a new bio I've got to get of Alan Mulally. I think he's a very interesting fella and probably one of the most important CEOs out there. But if you go to this site, you can read about the adaptive cruise control, the collision warning with brake support. You're right, Brian. They're basically... I keep asking about autonomous cars. He says, no. People love to drive. But really what he's saying is, well, not autonomous exactly.
Well, I'll tell you when it's really going to happen is when a car comes out that offers mobility for the elderly. And then all of a sudden it's a question of, because think about it. Think of how much money you save if older people don't have to be put in a home.
Don't have to drive.
Well, but it's not a matter of driving. And think about it. Think about everyone who has too many at the bar. And it's like you can get home safely.
Hey, drive yourself home with the button.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I disagree with them. I think the autonomous cars, which are being worked on aggressively by Google,
among
the company
others,
that you hate,
loves Google.
Is pretty much, I think it's going to happen within the next 15, 20 years.
Really?
5 years. 5 years.
I think
one's on the market in 5 years.
This isn't going to happen until you have roads. The roads have to be upgraded. And we don't have the infrastructure to do that.
No, I think Google's working a way around that. They say, screw the roads. We'll just have a bumpy old road, the old-fashioned roads. We don't need the sensors and all this crap that they were always thinking about.
They've got contextual awareness. And, in fact, like the Google cars, they'll get to one of those bizarre four-way stops when there are rules like this guy's supposed to go, but they're setting up algorithms based on the amount of data that
the guy doesn't go.
They're like, well, then I'm going to go, and I'm going to indicate to him that I'm planning to go.
Cars will talk to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually had a great conversation almost over a year ago with a guy who does this work, and he says, "Oh no, we can do it now."
Yeah,
he said, it's all the technologies are there. It's really all about consumer acceptance, governmental acceptance.
I think, by the way, that drunk driving thing,
dude.
That's the way to go because that would be
drunk driving
the way
is
to push
the way to go.
So just make sure everybody drinks a lot, and then they have to buy these cars.
Next year at South by Southwest,
yes,
all self-driving vehicles.
Oh my God,
and everybody drinking.
Oh, think about that. Google offers a fleet of unmanned taxi cabs. Think about that.
Is that legal?
Well, okay,
in Nevada,
you would have
legal
people
in Nevada.
physically there.
Yeah.
Everything's legal in Nevada.
You can also go faster.
CES.
So it's not legal in, say, Texas, but it would be legal in Nevada.
That's right. And Google is actively pushing some of the states. They're lobbying the states to make it legal.
It might happen sooner than we
For right now, it's legal as long as there's an operator in the seat. I think that's all 50 states, right?
Yeah,
but,
Google's doing that in California right now. They're just a guy going like this.
So think about it. So you got a fleet of 100 cars. And in South by Southwest, where everybody's drunk all the time, you say, hey, free cabs for everyone. They get in, and then they have an experience where, like, where you want to go? And he punches it in, and the guy just sits there and talks to you the whole time. That experience will blow the mind, and it's all going to be
You're in a Johnny cab.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be the Johnny cab experience.
I want that little statue. But, it's going to be like flying. It's going to be like flying because pilots sit there and read their charts.
Absolutely.
They take naps. They do all this stuff.
They listen to TWiT.
And it's
a great many of them listen to TWiT.
That's awesome. There's a big difference between removing the pilot and taking advantage of a lot of
You would not want to get into a 747 that had no pilot.
Right.
Correct.
But we get into subways, monorails, all sorts of mass transit that has no driver. That's kind of I don't know. The last time I got in a subway in New York, I didn't look to see if there was a driver.
Even more scary.
It's on rails.
Most of the operators. If you go to the AirTran, though, to the airport, there's no driver.
No driver.
The bigger
driver
point, though, is we get into cars that have horrible human drivers every day. At least I do, because I'm one of them. So, but I mean, cars are very dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, people talk about all these risks.
Two-ton vehicle being conducted by somebody who couldn't graduate from 6th grade.
People are afraid of sharks, but, driving to the beach is way...
What the hell?
Driving to the beach is
so much more.
Sharks are going to drive our cars now.
I'd buy one. So.
It's against the law in all 50 states for sharks to drive. I just want you to know. Todd Park is our new CTO. Who? Did you know we had a CTO?
Yeah, that was Anish was the guy before.
Anish Chopra quit. And Todd Park was formerly the CTO of Health and Human Services. He's a healthcare nerd. He also led the healthcare.gov initiative. And he's going to be the new CTO, helping to modernize the federal government. I'm all for that.
Moving right along.
You go, Todd. I don't know what the CTO does except give Tim O'Reilly interviews. Netflix. This is interesting. Apple TV, the new Apple TV Netflix announced
not
that
physical TV. It's still the Apple TV
puck.
product.
It's still a puck. That you can use your Apple account to subscribe to Netflix. There is this tight bonding, and apparently Netflix has been going to cable companies all over the country. This is smart.
Yes.
And saying, why don't we just be your service? Now Comcast, which is starting its own service called StreamPix, just said, forget about it. But I wouldn't be surprised to see other cable companies basically.
Well, this is brilliant because you got all these cable companies that are, and this is something we talk about on Frame Rate a lot. You got all these services that are doing the on-demand content, and meanwhile, it's like Netflix has the brand value that's 1 billion times more valuable than Time Warner Cable on demand. And it's like you know what's on Netflix, and everyone loves Netflix, so why not partner up?
Chief Executive Tim Books of Time Warner famously dismissed the idea that Netflix was a serious threat by equating the service to the Albanian army.
Yeah, that's an analogy everybody's familiar with.
I don't even get it. I don't. But he's come around a little bit, and they're much more positive. Reed Hastings, the CEO of Netflix, basically says it's not in the short term, but it's in the natural direction for us in the long term. Many cable service providers would like to have a competitor to HBO. They want to be the next HBO.
That's brilliant.
Odd. A movie service, not just a streaming video service.
Well, I mean, think about the niche that HBO had. When I was a kid, that was the awesome place. I'm a little JCD. When I was a kid, that's where you saw movies. And now, who watches HBO for the movies anymore?
Now remember, Netflix is 30% of all internet traffic during peak hours. A third of all internet traffic during peak hours is Netflix.
Yeah.
So one of the things I'm sure Netflix would like to do with Comcast, Time Warner, and other cable companies that are also internet service providers is work out some sort of bandwidth deal. Because at some point, the cable companies a lot of this bandwidth control stuff is really about keeping people from watching Netflix.
Well, and I'm convinced that so much of this is everybody in the business has to know that we're switching to an on-demand world. But they have too much invested right now.
Right.
So I think all of these plays are just plays to delay and give them more time to work out more deals until finally they become so desperate that somebody can pull an iTunes. iTunes came in and revolutionized.
Transformed
it overnight because it was only the threat of massive destruction by piracy that got everybody on board. And that's what it's going to take with video all over again. Is piracy is going to have to continue to grow. The Pirate Bay is going to have to continue to exist till finally everyone gets so desperate that somebody can swoop in, and it could be a Hulu, it could be a Netflix, it could be a YouTube can come in and say new rule, $1 for everything, and then everyone's like, yes, let's take that. So
could be Apple.
I'm totally rooting for Apple and Google to completely control television because all this stuff about we're eventually all going to be able to download all movies all the time That's a given, and that's a kind of a generic fact that
Here's the thing: we already
no
can. Just nobody likes to admit that one of the strong arms is piracy.
The difference is it going to be horrible like it is now with the interface, with the crazy remote controls? Everybody's got like 4 remote controls, and nobody can control them. And the on-screen, cable operators interface for dealing with movies. It's horrible in a world with the iPad to be using an interface like that because of some kind of lock-in or some kind of cable control of
So it'll be resolved with the real Apple TV.
So exactly. The real Apple TV, but that will be just a part of their takeover of control of the industry, similar to their takeover of the music
iPad
industry.
Controller.
So those of you in New York know about Aereo.
Oh my gosh! Oh, this is so frustrating. These are the guys. This is the guy where we've already seen this exact same thing years ago. We saw it with Real Media trying to do it with the DVDs.
This is how cable companies started. Frankly,
exactly.
You couldn't get television stations. They put up an antenna, ran a cable to your house. You pay them. Now you can watch TV.
So they're being sued right now. These are the guys where you effectively rent a very, very small physical antenna in your own hometown. It's geolocated according to where your town is.
This is your antenna. It's not one antenna for all.
This is not the first time this idea has been propagated, by the way. These little antennas in your own house. 15 years ago, they tried it. 20 years ago, they tried it.
I do this with my ham system. I can't put an antenna up here. So there's a guy in the back east who lets me use his antenna. And then over the internet, the audio comes back here to my radio. My radio, through some software controls, is his radio, and I can get online.
Right. So on the one side of the legal border, you have Slingbox.
Yeah.
Slingbox is 100% legal and 100% fair because it's a box that you attach to your system, and you are able to stream your content from your cable box anywhere you want in the world to whatever device you're using. Then you get the gray area. You had Zadiva that tried a similar thing where they had a whole bank of physical DVDs and physical DVD players. They said these are DVDs for rental. These are DVD players for rental. When you pay us, you are paying for us to take a physical CD and put it in a physical player and then stream the content to you. They got shut down by the MPAA. They said, no, that's copyrighted material. You're streaming it illegally. It's not, But the difference, this is the exact same thing, only with high definition over-the-air antennas. And they're playing by the letter of the law all the way across the board, but they're being sued again. Who's the guy that invested in this? He created
Barry Diller.
Yeah, very smart guy, very long.
So Aereo, when they started, raised $20 million before their launch because they knew they would get sued.
Well, exactly, and that's what's different this
time. And Barry
time.
Diller and IAC put money in. Yeah, they were basically, I think Barry Diller said, look, let's create a test case. We don't even know if this company's going to survive, but let's create a test case. They say, we're not rebroadcasting. See, that would be the issue. If I took NBC and rebroadcast it over the internet, that would be illegal. We're not rebroadcasting. We're letting people tune into their antenna, which happens to be somewhere else.
Correct.
And they can tune it. They tune what channel. If you
look at the cards, there are thousands of very tiny antennas. Like nobody else is using your antenna. When you're not using it, nobody else is. It is your antenna.
So the service they're providing merely is giving you an antenna that's connected via the internet somewhere else. You do what you want with it.
It's essentially exactly a Slingbox, only the Slingbox is located at a facility instead of inside your house.
It's not even exactly a Slingbox. It's just an antenna on the internet.
Right.
It's not connected to anything else.
I actually think this is going to be the flashpoint that changes things. I think
they're being sued by, of course, broadcasters.
Yeah, they're going to get sued out of existence. I mean, I don't think they can beat this.
The antenna can stream one broadcast channel at a time. It's not on demand. It's just whatever's live.
Totally a test case. It's an interesting test case, but what would they accomplish if they win the case? I mean, this is kind of...
Well, they set a precedent.
Hey, at all bases, in every which way, this is a kludge.
So it is. But that's how all of our legal system is. It's all based on legal precedents.
Yeah, but when it comes to IPTV, the future of television is not going to be some kludge like this. It's going to be real IPTV. You're going to go to some...
The thing that's missing from IPTV is that my local ABC channel is not on the internet. That I have
someday they will. All the radio stations, all the radio stations have. And if I want to listen to one of these,
a lot more bandwidth though.
But again, where we are with audio is where we'll be with video 10 years from now. And that's what's amazing to watch this unfold because it is lockstep with what happened in the late 90s.
There's a bandwidth issue, but I think at some point I'll be able to go on my computer, call up Stockholm, Sweden, and go to channel 30 on the local cable there and just stream it.
That's a good channel.
It is good. That's the
adults only.
That's right. That's the porn channel.
Really?
So you get it, and boom.
Okay, just check.
And keep in mind, here is why it's important is because of all the test cases. And like I said, we've seen this with other cases. Number one, they're well funded. Number two, in every way with the letter of law, they're complying. And that only one person gets the physical antenna.
Now, I understand what you're saying, but I don't see
geo-locked.
what they're going to accomplish if they actually win this test case.
Once you
they
get
got a
that,
business.
it becomes a
It's
precedent.
little micro antennas everywhere.
It's a kludge.
Why is it a kludge? What's wrong with it?
It's stupid. I mean,
It
when
is
you
stupid,
but
but
it's stupid. That's what's wrong with it. It's basically a stupid idea.
You have to get a toehold legally to
I think
set
it's
up
a
that
great
first
idea.
precedent.
I think it's a great idea. So these antennas are how big? Are they this big?
They're
this
like
big?
they're like this big.
gimmick.
They're that big.
They have like 20 of
It's
them on
not
a
a
car.
gimmick, John.
Gimmick?
Because I can watch broadcast television. I have a little antenna down there.
Wouldn't it be cooler if you
and
could
I
just
go on the
call
internet?
up the station and say, "Give me your feed"?
But
Yes,
they're not
but
going to
you
do it because
can't
it
do
costs
that.
the station money. It's too expensive for. Look, I know. I'm doing it.
You're in business. You're doing fine. You have thousands and thousands and thousands.
But
of
if I
people.
had the choice of having people have little antennas,
please,
if every one of you would just get a little antenna
kludge,
and put it on your roof, that would save us so much money.
Understand that this is not the cause. This is not the source of the stupidity. This is the symptom of the stupidity that already exists. Our legal system is
you got
broken,
that right.
and it did not anticipate the new media way
you haven't-
that we disseminate
It's
information.
You're
This is-
assuming that this injunction will be issued and the courts will shut it down. I think the courts are going to go, "Pfft, of course that's legal.
Well, they did shut down Zediva. Zediva did the exact same thing, only with DVDs, and they said, sorry.
That's the difference.
But
There's
guys-
a big difference.
Yeah,
That's a big difference.
When the
You're
airwaves-
making a copy of the content. This is not making a copy of the content. It's merely providing a channel. And I think it's completely legal.
It's going to be depending on the law firm.
There's also a precedent that the airwaves belong to the
Exactly.
public, and anytime you route everything through the air, suddenly that's a source that is like sacred.
Suddenly okay.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
a really good point. And again, it all comes down. Yes, it's totally kludgy, John, but John, it is so important that they win this.
If I could only set up a little network of antennas all over the world, I would.
Here we go.
So, I take you now to the Minnewaska, I hope I'm saying that right, school district in beautiful downtown Minnesota.
Oh, this is great.
A 12-year-old girl decides that the hall monitor is mean to her. So she described her as mean on her Facebook profile. 12-year-old girl, Facebook profile. No school equipment or property was used to make this posting, but the school principal found out about it and demanded the 12-year-old girl's password to her Facebook account. She coerced the 12-year-old girl into giving up not only her Facebook, but her email passwords so that the school could check on what she had written. She was twice punished for things she wrote on Facebook. Now the girl is suing in conjunction with the ACLU, declaring that her First and Fourth Amendment rights were violated.
Yeah. The school has no business. Well,
she was called, get this, she was called to a meeting with a school counselor and a deputy sheriff was there.
The only thing
she was interrogated.
It's the school system for you.
The only thing she doesn't have on our side is I believe she's too young for the terms of service
that's
for
not,
Facebook.
That doesn't.
I know it's not relevant,
Yeah.
but outside of that, like they have no business poking their head on this. It's a closed network. You have to be a friend to even see what they say.
Yeah,
This is a free speech issue.
I think the principal is mean.
No, she said that too. That's what got got her in trouble. So yeah, that is just repressive.
Yeah,
just shocking.
But I think public opinion is on her side, and I think this raises a.
She get a book deal out of this. 7 figures.
The bigger issue is that what are the First Amendment rights of a minor? It's like it's kind of a gray area.
You know what? They don't exist. For instance, you can't wear in a T-shirt a shirt that says "F you." You don't have the right to do that.
Right.
You might have the right to do it as you walk down the street here. In fact, I believe
Right,
you
but not
do.
in school, yeah.
You can't do it in a mall, and you can't do it in a school.
Well,
so,
and then you see that with stuff like dress code enforcement and the length of your hair.
so I'm not
the
sure
size of
kids
your
have the
shorts.
same First Amendment rights. I don't know if they do.
Well, they're not legal entities.
This would be a
really.
good case.
Yeah.
We have a great show. You should watch this show called This Week in Law with Denise Howell, who is an amazing attorney. She brings on other great attorneys, and they actually know something about these things, and they talk about it in an educated, intelligent way. And I bet you both of those stories will be big.
What are you
on, This Week
implying?
in Law. Well, we do our best. We guess. But she's actually an attorney. You know, it's funny because common sense actually has nothing to do with this. And so we're using common sense. You actually have to ask a lawyer, and they'll go, well, actually.
Somebody described, somebody asked, they summarized, we were talking about the over-the-air antenna stuff, which is the kind of thing we talk about on frame rate. Somebody summarized the whole show as Brian complains about the way things ought to be, and Tom Merritt explains why that's illegal.
What a team.
Somebody was telling me what they did on This Week in Law last week, and they were talking about something that was really, and I can't remember what it was, but it was really, really good stuff. Must watch. But actually, before we finish up, we do have a couple more stories, including an interesting story about Pinterest. That should hold your interest. Let's see what's going on in the week ahead. Tom Merritt has the latest.
He's right over there.
Hey, thanks, Leo. Here's a look at some of the stories we'll be covering on Tech News today in the week ahead. Monday, March 12th, South by Southwest nears its end. Gadget does its live event in Austin, Texas. Tuesday, March 13th is the last day to upload to your Nokia Ovi account before it shuts down. Wednesday, March 14th, Aereo is scheduled to launch its streaming broadcast TV service in New York City if the law allows. Also, March 14th, of course, is International Pi Day. Thursday, March 15th, T-Mobile is planning to show off its latest and greatest BlackBerry technology at an event in Washington,
You couldn't
D.C.
say that with a straight face.
Friday, March 16th, interestingly, was the original date that the Steve Jobs bio by Walter Isaacson was supposed to publish. It is now the date that the new iPad ships.
Ooh.
And Saturday, March 17th, the second annual Northeast GNU Linux Fest in Worcester, Massachusetts begins, and WonderCon kicks off down in Anaheim. That's like the week ahead. Back to you, Leo.
Thank you, Tom Merritt. Tom Merritt and TNT Tech News Today every weekday, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 2200 or
Well,
something.
when did you hire him? Has he been on before?
Who, Mr. Merritt?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a wonderful guy.
Huh.
Yeah, we used to work with him. Do you remember him at Tech TV?
Never heard of him, actually.
He hosted, he was the virtual character, what's her name, Tilda.
Ah.
Yeah. Beautiful breasts. Well, it was...
Did you guys see the SimCity announcement?
What's they're rebooting it?
Yeah, Will Wright's not involved. That's the only downside to it. But
he's the genius.
Well, yeah, he's the genius, but he created it and it exists. And I like Civilization with or without Sid Meier attached to it. But I'm super excited.
So what's going to be new about SimCity?
Co-op? They got co-op play built in, and it looks beautiful.
See, that's good because right now when you play SimCity, you're all alone with a bunch of AI creatures that talk funny.
Yeah,
but it'd be nice if you could actually have conversations with real people. Meet.
Well, yeah, and work as a team, to create.
It's co-op in that sense.
Yeah,
it's not like Second Life though.
No. It's not The Sims, right? The Sims are all the individual people, but this is city building. It's been years since we've had a SimCity.
Yeah. What did you think he said?
I thought it was The Sims.
I thought
it was The Sims. SimCity
is back. It looks awesome.
Oh, come on! Who wants to play SimCity?
What? Are you kidding me?
Come on. Wait a minute. It looks like that.
That's awesome.
Wait a minute. It looks like that.
Yeah. No. It looks awesome.
Oh, this is
it's
the
not
trailer.
like just squares on a map. It looks like OpenStreetMap. This is what it's going to look like?
Yeah, no, it looks really, really good.
If it looks like this, or is this fake?
I like how the smoke comes out. It's like
I love that.
Photorealistic.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Can you blow up things?
Yeah, sure.
Apparently there's a dragon with fire.
Yeah, dragons.
You can do it cooperatively.
Mecha Godzilla.
Now, this would be great on the iPad.
You know what? This makes me kind of sad.
Why?
I think of all the creative, talented people who are wasting energy on manipulating bits in Minecraft and SimCity when they can actually be creating something real in the real world.
I'll tell you, dude. Give it another. Give it.
No, seriously, it bugs me. It's like I was playing Farmville, and Jennifer comes up and says, "What are you doing? Are you farming again?" I said, "Yeah, I'm farming." She said,
"You don't create anything in farming."
She said it'd be nice if you actually took that energy and maybe
did a garden, yes, in the backyard,
and knit something, or garden.
Knit, knitting would be good.
Well, I guess that's the question. Is it the fact that they create because they're creating things that bring joy to other people?
I think exactly.
Joy.
It's channeling out. Look, I think we have a certain amount of creativity. It's channeling that creative juice out of us into something that is ultimately meaningless, that satisfies us. We feel good. We've created, but in fact, it isn't really creating anything. And so it's taking the
That's
impulses,
the way to end the show.
good impulses, and channeling it into nothing. You might as well just get a black hole and throw your whole life into it.
No, I agree with you more.
I agree with you.
No way.
Totally.
We're like
you guys.
We're like those guys.
What's
on
it
the
like
Muppets.
back there in the 50s?
Hey,
What's
the
going
way
on?
This guy is not
the world
funny.
is a mess.
He's not funny.
It wasn't the same.
Look, okay, think about the time and effort that goes into designing and building an Armani suit. It's a stupid drape to cover your naked body. Why is that better than the stuff people create in Minecraft?
Because it makes you look good.
All right, you're right. An Armani suit is a complete waste of time.
I don't think so. I think Armani makes a great product.
But what about what if you actually built a city instead of just simming at a city?
Well, you can't. That's silly.
Well, somebody does.
Well,
In
yes,
China,
and those people
they got all those new
have to deal
cities
with
that nobody lives
corruption
in.
and power and remaining on
So
top.
let's just give up.
No, I'm saying
We'll
let's
just give up and
look,
throw our creative juices into a black hole.
SimCity is better than The Sims, where you basically simulate doing the dishes as your real dishes.
That's really
Yes.
pathetic.
Yes.
I mean,
That's really pathetic.
building a city at least gives you godlike powers.
You know what? I'm play games. I waste my time. What do you think this is? Are we doing anything of value? No.
Yes,
But
we're educating the
oh my God, that didn't take long.
There we go. These guys don't miss a beat, do they?
Wow, that actually looks about
It
right.
could have been. They could have. They can tune it, fine tune it.
Well, he just did it, like pretty quick.
This week on the balcony.
It actually
Get
looks-
off your butts and
On
build
the
a
balcony
city, people.
with JCD and Leo.
Pinterest drives more. This is an example. Pinterest drives more referral traffic than Twitter. I went to college for this.
I think it's baloney traffic, though, because I think the reason Pinterest is such a big phenomenon is because it's a bunch of little pictures.
So you
And
think
that-
this is the equivalent of a Quora type thing?
Well,
where-
no, I the opposite, actually. What I've discovered on Google Plus is that everything on the What's Hot list is pictures and simple things because it's international. People in Pakistan and Madagascar and all these different places can see a cool picture and click on it and be like, I really like that. Whereas, a reasoned argument or, a longer thing or, an article by John C. Dvorak that uses like a very American English and stuff like that is less accessible to somebody who barely speaks English.
Wait a minute. Barbara.
So pictures like that, everybody in the world will look at that and click on it or whatever they're going to do.
But it doesn't really give you anything of value.
That's right. You're driving traffic, but you're not. People aren't going to buy anything.
Puppies. Yeah, but
you guys are setting back the internet a decade.
You know what? I Pinterest stuff that I'm going to buy that I'll use it as a bookmarking thing for shopping.
But the traffic for it,
and then it would
is
drive traffic.
Mostly people who aren't in a position to buy it. They just kind of, it's like the Sears wish book during the Depression. It's like, wow, look at this tractor.
I see what you're saying.
And you see the same
So
thing.
you're
on the social
against
network.
it.
I hate it.
You don't like Pinterest?
I like it.
I'll give you an example.
Is it anything but
I've been
pictures?
looking for this
No, it's just
for
pictures and
years.
small
Okay,
captions.
what is it? It's a little notepad thing with a roller on it.
So remember in the old days?
Yeah,
you'd
this
have,
is like something from the 30s.
Yeah, you'd have it on the wall. and
Hey,
you'd have
when
a-
I was a kid, we
Yeah.
used to write on those.
Yeah.
You're not
but
helping
this
your
is a-
You
reputation,
use something
fellas.
called a pen.
Solid state
Yeah.
pen-based system.
Yeah, it's a solid state, but this is stainless steel. It's beautiful. You hang it on the wall and you do your grocery list on it. Because I'm constantly going, I got to buy tea, and I forget. So I've been looking this. I finally found it, so I pinned it, baby.
You pinned it.
It's like
I pinned it.
How
it's
much
like
does that
clear
thing cost?
made out of dead
It's like-
trees.
I don't know. See, now it's going to drive traffic. You click it. It goes to Amazon.com. I did not put my
Affiliate
referral
code,
I
yeah.
should have put my affiliate code on it. It's $23, a little pricey. I bought it. It comes with 3 rolls. You buy it and you get some extra rolls of
Wow.
Charmin, whatever that is.
paper. It's the paper. Look, there's only 9 left in stock. You watch. By this time tomorrow, they'll be out of stock.
Oh, yeah. I was going to brush
And so
it
that's
again.
what I mean. It's going to somebody's going to see that and say, "Oh, I've been looking for
what's
that."
your point?
Well, it drives traffic.
But
We're
the success-
disagreeing because he says it doesn't drive traffic. I'm
he
saying
says it
does.
But the
drives
success
bogus
of
or
the success of
traffic.
Pinterest is not based on actual purchases. It's based on driving traffic by people who
I
aren't
agree.
going to purchase anything.
Most of the time, it's cute pictures. Yeah.
And people clicking on it.
So I think it's a bit of a mirage.
What's these 2 heads?
Yeah. Would you buy dictator cakes for Amnesty International?
Wow, that is great. It's Castro's head, which is a
cake.
chocolate cake.
And it supports Amnesty International.
And you get to cut his head open and eat the cake. That's amazing. Now,
And inside,
that's a product.
well, here's another one. If you like,
I
you
had
can
one
get,
of those, but
what
it
is
was
that?
eaten by my
Who is that?
That
Capitalist
looks like
running
Lenin.
Is it Lenin?
I think
It
it's
was.
Lenin, yeah.
If it had a goatee.
Yeah.
Well, the goatee's been eaten.
Oh, don't eat the goatee, man. That's the worst part. All right.
Why is Lenin
How did
sneering?
we get here again?
What are we doing here? Okay. But see, you can see why Pinterest is completely addictive.
Oh yeah, it's a wall of compelling pictures. It's easy.
What is that? It's a duck.
I think it's a duck. Yeah.
Whenever you go to a trade show, and John has seen this a gazillion times, Comdex and CES and stuff, there'll be some high-resolution TV from some no-name Japanese company or Korean company, and people just stand there and watch TV.
Right.
They do.
They came all the way
'Cause they're
halfway
so
across
tired.
the world to get,
They're so tired.
because
And it would be
people are
crappy TV. It was just
Yeah.
like a bunch of images
Yeah.
of like
and there's a
seagulls
mob of people.
yeah.
Because
All right.
people are
Dude,
just, they need to
when I sit
turn
down
off.
at a restaurant, I position myself specifically so that there's not a single TV in my view, if possible.
What kind of
Otherwise-
restaurants you going to that have TVs? Come on, give me a break.
Applebee's.
Applebee's. Okay, now we got
All right.
got something.
We're going to
Finally
wrap
learned
this up.
something.
Game
today.
On's coming up. We just had GDC. Did you see this? Quantic Dream showed this. It's a PlayStation 3 real-time rendering. This is their kind of a demo video of the next, was it Heavy Rain? This is
Chocolate Rain?
This is Chocolate Rain. This is an example of motion capture.
Even that guy didn't get 71 million hits.
Here comes men with fame. Ding, ding, ding.
So this is all rendered real time. This is
all real time on an actual PlayStation 3. This is actually quite a moving movie. They're creating a human, android. She comes alive and realizes that she actually lives.
Can you hear me?
Then what happens when she realizes?
Well, that's what it's all about.
KPC 8975046.
She said, I'm an android? This is all done real time with motion capture. It's really stunning.
Your eyes now.
The reflections, the
ray tracing.
Yeah.
It's funny how you see they build in flaws on purpose.
Right.
Hello. I'm a third-generation AX400 android. I can look after your house, do the cooking, mind the kids. I organize your appointments. I speak 300 languages, and I am entirely at your disposal as a sexual partner.
And I'm really well built, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Wait till you
I'm
see.
equipped with a quantic battery that makes me autonomous for 173 years.
173 years.
Do you want to give me a name?
Yeah. From now on, your name is
Siri.
Kara.
My name is Kara.
You really you get sucked into this.
Checked. Now, can you move your arms?
The audio listeners are loving this.
Yeah, they're just eating it up.
Well, if you go look at it, it's
We'll look at Kara.
Kara.
She's got big man hands, don't you think?
Now say something.
That's the,
at her hands.
uncanny valley.
Ich bin ein AX400 Android dritter Generation, erschaffen als Ihr persönlicher Assistent und intimer Beziehungspartner.
Say it in French.
No.
Je suis un Android de troisième génération, AX400.
You're close. Actually, watch. Keep watching. She gets a little rebellious.
I'm sick of saying this.
Now sing something in Japanese.
So for those listening, the robot arms are constructing her as he's testing her. She's not quite finished. That's what the noises are in the back.
Say it in Klingon. Somebody in the chat room said.
300 languages. One of them must be Klingon.
Yeah.
And Elmer Fudd. I'd like to.
Multilingual verbal expression checked.
I'd like
Go
to.
ahead, take a few steps.
So is this for a game?
Yeah, this is going to be. But this is a demo reel for the motion capture capabilities of the game rendered in real time in PlayStation 3.
I think Elmer Fudd would be good.
Hello.
Usually,
you could do that Coke executive voice. That would be the thing.
Great. Are you ready for work, honey?
What's going to happen to me now?
I'll reinitialize you and send you to a store to be sold.
Sold? I'm a sort of merchandise. Is that right?
Yeah, of course you're merchandise, baby. I mean, you're a computer with arms and legs and capable of doing all sorts of things.
Wait a minute.
And you're worth a fortune.
Wait a minute. I'm a merchandise.
I'm escaping. This sucks, she thinks.
She does. She says, don't kill me.
What did you think?
I thought I was alive.
Shit, what is this crap? That's not part of the protocol. More memory components going off the rails. Okay, recording. Defective model. Disassemble and check the required components.
You're disassembling me, but why?
You're not disassemble Johnny Five. You're not supposed to think at all, period. You must have a defective piece or a software problem somewhere.
No, I feel perfectly fine, I assure you. Everything is all right. I answered all the tests correctly, didn't I?
Yeah, but your behavior is non-standard.
Supposed to
Please,
blog.
I'm begging you, please don't disassemble me.
I'm sorry, honey, but defective models have to be eliminated. That's my job. If a client comes back with a complaint, I'm going to have some explaining to do.
I won't cause any problems, I promise. I'll do everything I'm asked to. I won't say another word. I won't think anymore. But I've only just been born. You can't kill me yet. Stop, will you please stop?
This is why you should stop playing SimCity right now.
Yeah,
all right, I'm not going to spoil it for you.
Good.
I'm not going to spoil it for you, but
I want to see her rebuilt as a battle mech and just destroying everything.
Isn't that that's quite amazing? Kara by Quantic Dream, if you want
to.
It's
like RoboCop 5, basically.
I think it's very interesting. It's quite well done. Quite well done. There's some amazing technology, and that's on existing consoles.
That's something I didn't
That's
see
what blows
coming.
me away.
You know, I always harp on consoles because the graphic hardware is 5 generations behind what's possible on PC. But the fact that it's a unified design platform allows people to increasingly create higher quality, you know, like you mentioned, the motion capture. Usually there's a telltale kind of jitter in most, and you see it in a lot of the BioWare games, but on that, it was exceptionally smooth on all the motions.
And get this, according to Cynical Brit 94 on Twitter, this is a year-old technology they're showing now. They're already a year beyond this stuff they're doing in the labs. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Brian Brushwood, great to have you. You're going to stick around because we've got Game On coming up in just a little bit, our incredible gaming show.
Absolutely, dude.
What's the topic?
Dude.
You got Notch. Wait a minute. You got Notch on today.
Yep, we got an interview with Notch, exclusive. We're also talking
Don't tell him what I said about Minecraft, okay?
I won't.
Jesus.
We also have the folks. One of the producers for the new Mass Effect 3 is going to be joining us for an interview.
That's
and
great.
we're talking about the BioWare Guild Summit they did on Star Wars: The Old Republic. It is amazing to watch them intentionally try to woo away the audience from Blizzard and World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Like they're being very savvy about it.
Yeah, it looks more fun than World of Warcraft. I have to say.
It's
Yeah.
lasers. And robots.
Lasers.
Plus Scam School Book on
Scam
Wednesday.
School Book.
Pi Day.
Now, again, scamschoolbook.com.
Scamschoolbook.com has all the links on there. And again, the idea is it's half price on launch day because I want to cheat. I want to defraud and be number one and totally fake my way to having a number one bestseller. Hey, look, it's Veronica Belmont.
This is, by the way, if you thought the Quantic Dream was amazing, look at the simulation here.
She's fully synthetic.
She's in real. Look at that Mass Effect T-shirts.
More shirts.
You know, she comes every week and never gives me a shirt ever.
I brought 3. There you go.
And now
And I'll tell you what I'm
going
to do. I want to. Whoever came from the longest, farthest away. Who's came from the far? Any from the outside the U.S.? Barcelona. Where are you from?
Yeah,
I'm
like
sorry.
not Barcelona.
Vermont does not count. Anybody farther away than Barcelona? All right, this is yours, sir. Enjoy. Thank
Give
you
the
for visiting us.
Barcelona guy this one.
Take off that San Francisco giant.
Barcelona. Give it to
49ers
Barcelona.
shirt. Yeah. No, that is Barcelona.
Oh, that is Barcelona. Give it back.
Where are you from? Where are you from? Texas.
Texas. Yeah.
Brian came farther than that.
Hold on.
Texas.
You guys realize that Veronica came and gave you gifts, and seconds later, right in front of her, you literally threw them away.
I got mine.
No, it's in our contract. Veronica gives us stuff, and then we give it away. Thank you, Veronica. No, it's nice to be able to give this to the audience. He came from Barcelona, for crying out loud.
And all he got was his lousy
And
T-shirt.
all he got was his lousy T-shirt.
No,
exactly.
he was here for the Game Developers Conference for GDC. What's the name of your company? They do Spain. They do casual gaming. What's it called? So can you say it because I can't hear it? Acamon?
Acamon.
Acamon.com.
ACAMON.com.
AKA. M-O-N-E. AKB.
Stop it.
And all he got was this lousy plug.
Mundi Juegos.
There we go.
Playtime. 27 online games. So thank you for coming. We appreciate it. He came to GDC and visited us. It's nice. Thanks to Mike Elgan. It's always great when you make the trip up here. I appreciate it. Mike Elgan is at elgan.com, but really that just points to his Google Plus account.
That's right.
And where he has OpenStreetMap tiles and everything for sale.
That's right.
Yeah, no, it's good to see you. You're doing. I love the Google Plus. In fact, you make it a great content site. Thank you for being here. John C. Dvorak is at Channel Dvorak. That's where you'll find all of the shows he does, including No Agenda Show, now on Thursdays and Sundays.
It's always been on Thursdays and Sundays. NoAgendaShow.com, yes, actually.
NoAgendaShow.com and X3, 5X.
We do the X3 thing.
X3, all
Generation
of that stuff.
X3.
Generation X3.
This kids.
Get out from my lawn.
You know, these kids.
I tell you. We thank you so much for being here. We love doing this show, and we appreciate you for watching it because, frankly, that makes it possible for us to do it. Tune in live. We do it at 3
Did
p.m.
you say
Pacific.
goodbye to Brian?
Yes.
I did. That's the whole scamschoolbook.com.
Oh, yeah, that
Go
book.
there, March 14th. He wants to be number one. iBooks, Kindle.
Be part of the scam.
Scamschoolbook.com. Scamschoolbook.com. I heard somebody went to see your show at
Dick Bartolo.
Dick
came
Bartolo.
over. It was. I had a show in Manhattan just 4 days ago.
Baruch College.
Yeah, Baruch College.
Did
in
you
the
do the
Performing
thing
Arts
where you
Center.
stick the string in one ear and it comes out the
Yeah,
other?
I did the human crazy straw. all that
Dick
stuff.
was blown away.
Really? I was so flattered that he came out.
Loved the show, and he said, "Oh my God, this guy is insane."
That's awesome. It may be my all-time favorite photo, standing there with him after the show.
neat.
It was really cool.
He loved it. He really enjoyed the show. So, if you get a chance to see Brian's bizarre magic, get a chance to do that.
Yeah, book
please
me at
go.
your college.
Yeah, if you're at college looking for something for the kids,
the kiddos,
the kids love them. We do the show 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Now we had daylight savings. Are we in daylight savings time or standard time?
We're now in daylight savings.
We're DST now. So now it's
DST.
+7 UTC +7
-3
2200 UTC, I believe. Can you say that in Klingon? So please do tune in and watch live if you can. But if you can't, we make audio and video available to download after the fact. I think our new Coca-Cola Flowmaster is here. I'm very excited about it.
Too many decisions.
Thanks for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great day. Another TWiT is in the can.
Amazing.